Happy Memorial Day from Sinsheimer Stadium in San Luis Obispo, California. Beautiful sunny day for the Blues to host the West Coast Kings for Game 2 of this short two-game stint on this beautiful Monday afternoon. Hello, everyone, and welcome inside the broadcast booth. Nate Mills alongside Ryan Giacomini, getting you set for today's matchup on the Ancient Owl pregame show on the SLO Blues streaming network. And Ryan, the Blues fell against the West Coast Kings last night, a game you just kind of feel like they got to take against a team like that.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of shortcomings on both sides of the ball, and the Blues need to clean up a lot tonight to get it done against the Kings again today.
Yeah, and I think the most glaring issue on those shortcomings for the Blues, when we'll get to the errors, but was the offense. They really got to start barreling up these baseballs against the type of pitches they're seeing.
Yeah, only 8 hits, and you're facing a bunch of guys who, high school seniors or guys maybe playing at CCs, but didn't get a lot of playing time. So, you have to just be able to hit against those guys, put balls in play, make them work, and then, score runs and then inevitably, hopefully win the game.
Of course, you got to get runs on the board if you're San Luis Obispo, but no matter how many runs you put up, if you record 5 errors in a day, that's not going to help your case at all.
No, not at all. And some of them are just like silly mistakes. Like, you're not going to be too upset if a ball comes a foot short of Brendan Comerford at first and he can't pick it out. But I think back to that Don Jordan error in the 4th inning where he just threw it 10 feet over the catcher's head when there was no play even at the plate. And that, forced or allowed another run to come in and the runners to move up to second and third. So just like little things like that just can't happen. And I think it's also an issue of just like communication early in the season. They're still just trying to figure things out between each other and figure out how to play with each other.
It's your second season with the Blues, and this is a trend that we saw last year too. And in my 3rd year, this is a trend we saw 2 years ago also. The errors and the inability to get the bats going early on in the season. What is it about just the nature of summer ball or maybe this team that issue just keeps happening?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this on opening day. I think it's just a chemistry thing. Like, people might think that baseball is a very individualized game because you have your position that you play, and when you hit, you're the only person up there. But there's so much that goes on. If you strike out and you have bad chemistry in the dugout, you're going back to a bunch of people who are pissed at you for striking out. But if you have good chemistry, they're keep your head up, let's get it back on defense, stuff like that. So just having chemistry in that aspect, and then also just being able to play with each other. There was a routine pop-up in the infield yesterday that O'Hara and Kiesling almost ran into each other because they were both calling each other off, and the Blues did catch the ball. But, plays like that, if they run into each other, the ball falls, that's free 90 that you're just giving out because just a lack of communication and then a lack of camaraderie between the teams so far.
Neither O'Hara or Kiesling in tonight's starting lineup for the Blues playing in the middle infield. And I think those mistakes like that where the chemistry is an issue can be mistaken as a lack of focus. What have you seen with the focus level for the Blues so far?
I think the focus level is there. I think, a lot of good quality at-bats. We see it in pregame. Nate and I are down on the field every single game talking with the guys, and they want to win. They want to hit the ball hard. They want to put the ball in gaps, and they want to score runs. It's not a fact that, they're here just because they have to be. Like, they want to be here, and they want to play good baseball and put on a good show for the fans here. So I don't think it's a lack of focus, but I think, I think it's mainly that camaraderie, but also, maybe a little bit of not great vibes so far. You haven't been able to hit the ball that well. The pitchings look solid outside of some innings yesterday. But, maybe just a lack of confidence amongst the team just because, nothing's really working out so far for them. And
talking about chemistry, today is a big day in terms of roster construction because it's the last day that the high school kids will be eligible to play for San Luis Obispo. So expect to see a lot of high schoolers out there on the field in Dean Trainer's roster. If you're a high school ball player today, like Hayden Hill in the lineup and Blake Gregory, Chris Johnson redshirted his first season at Cuesta, what's your mindset today? You're getting an opportunity to play in front of a great crowd on a college baseball team.
I think you just have to take advantage of the opportunity. There's going to be 1,400 people here. Just put on a show, have a good time, go out there, do what you know how to do. Especially like I'm thinking about Ty Bernal, who's he's a high school junior, and he's going to be starting on the bump for the Blues today. Just go out there, have some fun, throw the ball hard, work your stuff, and hopefully you can put up a 0. But the biggest thing I think is they need to throw strikes. If they can't get the ball out over the plate and they're just walking guys, it's going to be a short day for them. And
you segued into that perfectly. I wanted to ask you about Ty Bernal. What do we know about the young kid, the rising junior in high school from Mission Prep?
Yeah, well, what I do know is that he's a two-way guy. He can play both. He can play both in the field and he can pitch. Today, pitching, not playing in the field most likely. But he's a three-pitch guy, low arm slot, and we're going to see a sink, slurve, and a changeup. So a lot of movement on all of his pitches. Doesn't throw the ball very hard, but because of the arm slot and the movement, he can be pretty untouchable. He just has to keep the ball in the strike zone. That was an issue for him his freshman year of high school, where he walked about 30 batters his freshman year. So
yeah, his freshman year at Napomo High School, then transferred to Mission Prep for his second year, and he's still a pretty solid varsity baseball player as a true freshman too. We've mentioned it on the broadcast a few times. You don't necessarily have to throw super hard to be effective. If you got stuff that moves a lot, it's going to work, it's going to play, and I think that's the case so far, or the case going to be today for Ty Bernal. How impressive is that for you, Ryan, to see a kid this young? I mean, we looked at his stats offensively and as a pitcher. I mean, what was your initial reaction to seeing that?
Yeah, I mean, we got into it. We were really intrigued. We were trying to find Instagram, Twitter clips, just like everything we could on this kid, because we were like, well, it's very interesting that we're going to have a 16-year-old on the bump today. But the numbers were good. I don't remember the exact average, but I want to say he hit 350, somewhere in that range, with a 1,300 OPS as a sophomore, and then had a 3.44 ERA on the bump at Mission Prep, which is a decent baseball school in the area. So a very exciting player that I'm actually kind of excited to see where he can go post his one start here at the Blues today.
Not on offense, not hitting today, but 6 home runs on a 20-foot high fence out in Mission Prep too. So kid's an athlete, and excited to see him ball out for the Blues this afternoon. We're going to send you back down to the field. Ryan Giacomini has got you in the first 3 innings for play-by-play on this one on the SLO Blues Streaming Network. We'll see you guys later.
foster a family-friendly atmosphere, allowing for the continuing growth of quality baseball here on the Central Coast. To that end, spectators are asked to support their team in a positive manner and treat opposing fans and players with respect. Profanity, racial slurs, or otherwise unruly behavior will not be tolerated, and violators will be removed from the facility. We thank you in advance for your cooperation. The Blues are proud to welcome today's free foul ball sponsor, that is Old Slow Barbecue, our caterer. And representing Old Slow Barbecue tonight is one of the guys that makes sure all you get your food hot and ready and on time. And it's John. He's out there. John's going to show us what he can do. There he fries up a mean hamburger and a mean tri-tip. Here's his first pitch. All right, thanks, John. Thanks to all the hard work you guys do there at Old Slow Barbecue. Here is the starting lineup for the West Coast Kings. Leading off number 24, Joey D'Amelio. Then it's number 13, Dan Polisek. Followed by number 18, A.J. Martinez. Batting fourth, number 30, Gio Martini. He's followed up by number 16, Park Romney. Then it's number 12, Joaquin Stewart. Batting in the seventh position is number 50, Noah Morton. He's followed by number 2, Benji O'Rourke. And wearing number 1, batting ninth, is Jaden Montero. The starting pitcher today for the West Coast Kings, number 42, Dylan Warren. And now the starting lineup for your San Luis Obispo Blues. Leading off in center field, it's number 50, E.J. Royal. He's followed by the right fielder, number 5, Jake Hixenbaugh. Then it's number 2, the third baseman, Brendan Comerford. And in the cleanup position, it's number 10, the DH, Gavin Smith. Batting in the fifth spot, it's number 12, the second baseman, Eli Henderson. Batting sixth, the catcher, wearing number 33, Blake Gregory. Batting seventh, number 39, the left fielder, Brady Owls. Batting eighth, the first baseman, number 46, Chris Johnson. And in the ninth spot, number 30, the shortstop, Hayden Hall. Tonight's starting pitcher, number 47, Ty Bernal. The Blues are led by Dean Traynor. He is assisted by Brian Traynor, Rene Regalado, Paul Teixeira, Randy Kozar, Sheets Garcia, and Braden Seeker. Ladies and gentlemen, today, as you know, is Memorial Day. It is a day that is set aside to specifically honor those who gave their lives for our benefit. Please join us in standing for a moment of silence as we remember those who put on their uniform and never had the chance to take it off. Our national anthem today is being presented and sung by Christy Ward. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you would kindly remove your hats and remain standing as Christy sings the Star-Spangled Banner.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam? Bright stars through the pebbled
the Star-Spangled Banner as we get ready for Game 4 of opening weekend here at Sinsheimer Stadium on the Central Coast as the West Coast Kings come into town and will be taking on the home team, the San Luis Obispo Blues. Kings took the win last night in a slug-out in which the Kings scored in 6 of the 9 innings in which they came to the plate. 11-8 with 15 runs. The Blues, as Nate and I mentioned in the pregame show, 5 errors in that game and need to clean that up for today's game.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to win any baseball game when you boot around 5 baseballs and 3 errors the night before that. A combined 7 errors between the two teams last night and 6 the night before. Just some sloppy baseball the last 2 nights, and today just hoping for some cleaner games.
Let's take a look at the lineup for the West Coast Kings. 6 guys who were in the lineup last night make their return. Leading off, it's the center fielder Joey D'Amelio. Batting second, wearing number 13, is right fielder Dan Pulisic. Then it's the third baseman, A.J. Martinez. Cleaning it up is the first baseman, Gio Martini. And it's Park Romney, who will be out in left. Joaquin Stewart batting 6th and playing short. Noah Morton, the designated hitter, will bat 7th. Benji O'Rourke will bat 8th and catch. And rounding it out is Jaden Montero, the second baseman. For the Blues defensively, from left to right, it's going to be Alves, Royal, and Hicksonbaugh on the infield from third to first. Comerford, Hall, Henderson, and Johnson with Gregory in the squat. Wow. Ty Bernal, the high school junior, will be on the mound for the Blues, making his CCL debut today. The 6-foot-tall left-hander spent his first year this last year with Mission Prep. He's both a hitter and a pitcher, and his first pitch is a cold strike on the outer part of the plate at 2:06 p.m. It's 68 degrees and partly cloudy here in San Luis Obispo. Working quick. His second pitch is fouled back.
And Bernal's ready to go. He's just such a crazy resume, Ryan and I checking it out. A 16-year-old playing on a college summer baseball team, getting an opportunity here to show out against some college players.
That one misses outside.
And the key thing to remember for Bernal, too, he's not going to blow you away with the fastball. We've seen a lot of guys with some high velocity, high schoolers, and even young college kids. It's in the low 80s for him.
An off-speed pitch that swung on and fouled back towards the taco truck here at the ballpark.
And as Ryan and I have said before, you don't always have to beat players, especially in college, with high velocity. You can dip and dive with the sinker, the slurve, and the changeup. And Bernal has all those pitches in his arsenal.
Comes back with another sinker and doesn't miss by much. The count will even up at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, a lot of vertical break on that, too. Crazy. You just keep forgetting that he's a high school sophomore. The amount of movement on his pitches, it's very advanced.
Fastball misses upstairs, and from 0-2 to 3-2 to Joey D'Amelio, who yesterday led off and went 1 for 4 with a 2 RBI double in the second as he draws a walk. And I also talked about in the pregame show how Bernal just needs to throw strikes. It's a much different game playing against a bunch of college guys. And you're not going to be able to win if you can just give up free passes.
Absolutely. He kept it at bay for the most part in high school, actually pretty well. 46 strikeouts to his 16 walks and 44 2/3 innings pitched last season with Mission Prep.
Not bad numbers there, but a leadoff walk to D'Amelio and then comes right back with a sinker on the outside part to Dan Pulisic for a called strike. Slider misses away.
And I do like how quickly Bernal works, too. I've said it 1,000 times before. If I'm playing behind Ty, it's so much easier to play defense because you're just locked in for every pitch.
Sinker fouled to the left side.
And the reason you're locked in every single time, it's because there's a rhythm. There's a flow to the game. You're not stopping for a long time and you're picking grass and looking at butterflies. It's a lot easier to stay focused pitch to pitch when it's moving quicker.
Working from the stretch now as Johnson holds on D'Amelio at first. Here's the 1-2. Way upstairs. Good job by Gregory to keep it from finding the backstop.
And you'd hope with that leadoff walk to begin the game that Bernal might have gotten some of those jitters out playing in front of a crowd like this. But still having some issues with that command so far.
Slider. Cold strike 3 on the outer half. Polasek goes down looking, and Bernal has his first strikeout of the day.
Now, flying saucer starting in the middle half of the zone, or middle of the zone, and Polasek saw it, couldn't recognize the spin, and chased after it as it broke outside. Great pitch.
First pitch sinker is right there for Martinez, taking all the way and taking strike 1. 3 straight batters that he started off with a sinker. Runner goes. It's a fastball. It misses up. No throw from Gregory.
And it was a bad jump, too, by the runner D'Amelio over at first. He got lucky. He was able to leg it out, and Gregory took a long time to get out of the squat. I think the delivery more to home from Bernal was really what allowed D'Amelio to take off towards second. Bought a lot of time. D'Amelio with a good jump, too. With the lefty on the mound, it's the front foot moving first. You got to take off right away.
Change up there, swung on and missed over the top by Martinez, playing third today. He also played third in yesterday's game, where he went 3 for 6 with 3 RBIs and a double in that 6-run second inning. Got him picked off, and the tag at third is dropped by Brendan Comerford. Comerford is arguing that D'Amelio punched it out. And a great pickoff move by Bernal to catch D'Amelio in between. Comerford just couldn't hang on.
Yeah, those are mistakes that just can't happen. An error this early in the game. Comerford's got to hold on to that baseball, and he knows it.
That'll go down as an E5 as the infield comes in. This one is popped up over the dugout on the first base side. Count will stay at 1-2.
The theme of free 90 feet just continues to stay alive. I mean, D'Amelio was dead to rights. That throw beat him by 5 steps, and Comerford just couldn't hold on.
It's a mistake you don't usually see out of Comerford. He's a pretty solid defender, especially over there at third base, as that one's fouled back. You've seen him at first base in the first 3 games of this weekend. But today moves over to third, and Chris Johnson gets to start at first, the redshirt freshman.
New Blues fans aren't used to Comerford at the hot corner. He started most of the games there.
As that one is swung on and missed for strike 3. Second strikeout for Bernal.
Nice strikeout there from Bernal, coming back after that error made by Comerford. But he started most of the games there last summer for the Blues. I mean, 80%, 90% of the games over at first would at third, he would occasionally play first base. But you're right, the first 3 games he's been over at first.
Here's another lefty, Gio Martini. He is the first baseman for the Kings in today's game. Yesterday was was also at first base. Went 1 for 4. A walk, a hit by pitch, an RBI single in that second inning as well. Swung on and missed. And at 82 miles an hour, the sinker could not pick up the movement. I have a feeling that's going to be a pretty common theme. He's going pretty sinker heavy, which is a really good thing if he can continue that. He goes slider there. If he can continue to just really work that sinker and occasionally throw the slider in, then the next time through the order, we might see that changeup get incorporated a little more, especially considering it's going to have very similar movement to the sinker. It might just duck down a little more and be a little slower. There's another sinker that is fouled off. The deuces are wild here in the top of the second inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs.
Yeah, I really like the pitch shape from Ty Bernal so far. Really, really advanced look again.
Here's the 2-2. Sinker misses high. Not a great purpose pitch there. That one, there's no chance that Martini was chasing that.
Yeah, I think he was trying to go with the elevated sinker. That's what got A.J. Martinez to swing and miss, and Bernal thought he could go back with the same pitch in a 2-strike count, but Martini didn't offer.
Another sinker chopped up the middle and not gloved by Hall up at second base, or at shortstop, excuse me, and that'll be the Blues' second error of the inning.
And already these errors are just piling up. It's a tough play to make. We've talked about the hard infield surface at Sinsheimer Stadium, but Hall at shortstop, you just can't throw your glove out there and expect to make the play. You got to body it up, field the ball with a purpose, watch it go into your glove. If you lay it at the college level, you're going to get burnt, and Hall did right there.
He also took it on the short hop, which is just not what you want to do at all. He either needs to charge it another half step or two more, and then, or take one or two steps back and play it on a bigger hop. Playing it on the short hop is kind of why he just had to throw his glove out there, because he took a bad angle. Two throws over to Chris Johnson at first to no avail.
Yeah, Hall played for the Blues briefly last summer too, playing his first game in 2025, still kind of adjusting to how the field works. And the Blues didn't take on-field batting practice in today's game, so he couldn't get the reps needed to make the play on that ball.
Finally comes home, and it misses way outside. I've liked the pickoff move so far from Bernal. He knows he doesn't throw hard as he goes with a quick step and throw. He had a runner picked off, but it's kind of important because he doesn't throw the ball all that hard, so it doesn't give his catcher much help. So if he has some quicker pickoff moves, as that one misses way upstairs, it'll help out his catcher a little bit more because the runners will be forced to start a little bit closer to the bag that they're on. Martini gets a pretty sizable lead as that sinker catches the outside part.
And Gio, not a giant stolen base threat. Only had 8 in this past season with the Pioneers at Cal State East Bay in his 48 games played.
That one is chopped right back to Bernal. He fields it and throws it over to Chris Johnson to end the inning. So a run comes across on 2 errors, and the Blues trail it 1-0 here on the SLO Blues streaming network. Back here in the bottom of the first inning, Ryan Giacomini alongside Nate Mills. As Blues will come up, it'll be E.J. Royal followed by Jake Hicksonbaugh. And then Brendan Comerford, who's batted third all weekend long, but today is at third base. Gavin Smith will clean it up. Eli Henderson, who played in yesterday's game, at second, will bat fifth. Blake Gregory bats sixth. Brady Alves is seventh. Chris Johnson is eighth. And Hayden Hall is ninth, as that one is flown into right field on the first pitch and caught by the right fielder Polasek. One pitch, one out to E.J. Royal.
Yeah, I like how EJ attacks early, and I'll get backlash for this, but as a leadoff man, I don't mind ambushing the first pitch that you see. Of course, it's a job, and it's more the traditional job of a leadoff man to get a large sample size of the arsenal of today's starting pitcher in Dylan Warren from Folsom Lake College. But I'm EJ Royal. I'm a good hitter. I'm trying to find a new place to call home next school year. I'm swinging at the first pitch that I like, and he did so that time, just a little under it.
Hixenbaugh now steps in as we take a look at the defense for the West Coast Kings, as that one is fouled off. From left to right, it's Romney, D'Amelio, and Pulisic. In the infield from third to first, it's Martinez, Stewart, Montero, and Martini. And O'Rourke is in the squat.
Hixenbaugh taking his time getting back in the batter's box. I was never a big shin guard guy. Never wore a shin guard.
Fastball misses just outside. Hixenbaugh goes ahead 2-1. Why was that?
I think it was just too clunky, just too many things going on. Although I did foul a couple off my front foot and would borrow at teammates, because after that it just hurt so bad.
What was your accessory go to?
I was kind of plain Jane. I mean, I had an arm sleeve. I had the Evo Shield batting gloves, or the Bruce Bolts. Excuse me. That's a big mistake.
Ball 4 to Jake Hixenbaugh.
Bruce Bolts are great, man.
Yeah.
That leather is awesome. It's nice to see them take off because the guy who owns that company is very kind.
Excuse me, it's now 3-1. As Hixenbaugh swings and hits that one on the ground to second. Montero has it and throws it over to Martini for the second out of the inning.
You ever exchange letters with someone you bought stuff from?
No.
That's what I did with the Bruce Bolt guy.
Okay.
He's at a little warehouse in Texas. We exchanged letters.
Nice.
Of pleasantries.
Nice.
Great dude. This was years ago, so I unfortunately don't remember his name, but was loyal to the brand ever since.
Here's Comerford, who had a 3-hit day yesterday and 4 RBIs as he swings over the top of that changeup. Comerford was the man when it comes to offense in yesterday's game. I mentioned those 3 hits and those 4 RBIs. Those first 3 hits came consecutively in the first, second, and fourth innings. He also had 3 stolen bases, and then his last RBI came in the 8th on a sacrifice fly. He's kind of been the man all weekend for the Blues. He has an OPS over 1,000, very small sample size, only 15 plate appearances. As the 0-2 to him is swung on and missed, 4-3, and the Blues go down in order to end the first inning. 2 errors in the top half. Blues can't get anything in the bottom, and they trail it to the Kings, 1-0. Welcome back to the Slow Blue Streaming Network on a beautiful Monday, Memorial Day, as the first pitch is swung on, backhanded by Comerford. Good play. He gets up from a knee, and a strike to Chris Johnson is how we get the second inning started.
That's the Brennan Comerford we know and love. A very athletic play, sliding to his right. His ability to pop right back up into a good throwing position, I think, was even more impressive than the slide itself. And, of course, not overthinking the throw and throwing a dart over to Chris Johnson. What a play. One pitch, one out.
A great play. As I mentioned, it's a Memorial Day Monday here at the ballpark. As fans are still trickling in here to the ballpark. His first pitch being 18 minutes ago. As we honor, because that one is a called strike, as we honor those who have fallen in combat to serve and protect our incredible country. We had a beautiful moment of silence and then a beautiful rendition of the national anthem prior to the game. As that one is swung on and chopped to Henderson at second, he gloves it in his stomach and throws it over to Johnson for the second out. 2 quick outs here in the top of the second for Ty Bernal.
A couple of nice, good defensive plays here in this frame. Yeah, love the troops. Great moment of silence before the game. Active military and former military get into Sinsheimer today for free as we honor the veterans and the active troops for the United States. And the flag, and I didn't know this, Ryan, about the flag being half-mast before noon. Typically when on Memorial Day, you fly it at half-mast before noon, and then once noon hits, you raise it all the way up. I didn't know that.
I did not either. We were informed by our GM, Adam, about that prior to the game, and the flag is now flying at full mast, but when Nate and I got here around 11 to start preparing for the game, it was at half mast, and it was kind of a cool moment, honestly, to get to watch the flag rapidly go up right at noon. And it symbolizes, we recognize those who have fallen while it's at half mast, as the 3-1 pitch is a called strike. While it's at half mast, we recognize those who have fallen, and then we raise it to full mast to recognize those who are currently serving our great country. Called strike brings it to a full count. 2, Benji O'Rourke, caught yesterday. Fans scream for their hot sauce. They want another bottle. This would be the third. Swung on and fouled down the right field line. Ooh, right into the right in front of the bullpen. Bounces off the fence. O'Rourke yesterday reached base safely 4 times, but didn't have a hit. He was hit by a pitch in the second inning. Had a walk in the third, a walk in the fourth, and a walk in the ninth. As he has a walk in the second inning here on Monday's game.
Yeah, that sinker just starting at the lower part of the zone and just dipped below it. O'Rourke didn't offer at it. I think Bernal has the most confidence in that sinker pitch, and I don't blame him. It's been pretty effective today. He hasn't need to go to the changeup yet. It's been the sinker and the slider. So there's no offer from O'Rourke.
Bunt down the third baseline, and it's a pretty one. Comerford gloves it. The throw is not in time.
That's a great 90 that time from Jaden Montero. He was booking it down that first base line. A well-placed bunt, too. The flying Hawaiian. I know that's already taken, but I'll use it for Montero right now.
Fans in the ballpark and even some of the people up here in the press box did not think that was a correctly made call down at first base. But we move on, and it'll be Joey D'Amelio, the leadoff hitter, who walked and later scored in the first. He also scored 3 runs in yesterday's game as they step off from Bernal. I feel like Bernal's done a pretty good job so far. He walked a couple batters. That was the first hit he's given up, but it was a bunt single. So that's just honestly a great play by Montero. As I say that, he gives up a base hit back up the middle. O'Rourke gets the wave and no throw from Royal, and it'll be a 2-0 ball game.
Yeah, You talk about how good Bernal has looked, and honestly, even on that, he was still able to generate soft contact from Joey D'Amelio. That's something I like to see. You know, it's not good that you get another run slashed on the board against you if you're the SLO Blues, but still, it's off the hands. It was a weak little liner in front of E.J. Royal. It's not a ball that was damaged.
The ball was hit 65 miles an hour and found its way into the outfield. It was just a perfectly placed ball. So, like you said, nothing you can really do about that. Blues do trail it 2-0. That'll go as an earned run, the first one for Bernal. As steps off and fakes a throw to second base. Sliding back is Montero. The 1-0 misses up and in.
I called Montero the Flying Hawaiian. Of course, I'm referring to Shane Victorino, former Major League Baseball player. In lieu of Memorial Day, talk about his grandfather, who was a World War II vet.
Runners go. It's a double steal. Gregory's throw to third. What a play by Comerford. They say he didn't apply the tag, though, over at third base.
I'm not so sure about this call, Ryan. This looked like a great play by Comerford, and because he was kind of starfished in the air, slapping down the tag, he might have just gotten underneath it, that, of course, being the runner in O'Rourke.
He didn't contest it too much, and Comerford is definitely a guy who will contest a call if he thinks he is correct, as that one is fouled back. Barely grabs the netting and stays in play. But from our vantage point up here in the press box, I thought that he made an incredible play to save it from going into the outfield, and then also starfished and tagged Montero. The 2-2 up above the head of Polasek, who struck out looking his first time. Now Montero stands on third. D'Amelio stands on second. And the full count offering swung on a miss, strike three. Bernal is fired up as he gets out of the jam with just the one run of damage. Still hasn't hit the ball hard against him, and he's looked pretty solid out there on the mound. But the Blues do trail it 2-0. They'll look to get it back in the bottom of the second inning. Back here on the bottom of the second inning, as I remind you that this half inning is brought to you by Studio Design Group Architects, the talented team at Studio Design Group Architects. Whether you're designing, planning, or needing permits for a space, Studio Design Group and their collective philosophy have you covered. Visit sdgarchitects.com to learn more. Studio Design Group Architects. Gavin Smith steps in with his red batting gloves and takes a first pitch fastball for a ball. That one misses high. The lefty Warren still out there on the bump. Blues, very small sample size, but the Blues have struggled against lefties early in the summer as Smith hits that one hard but foul. Smith this last season at Harvard hit 214, excuse me. One extra base hit. 15 strikeouts to his one walk, so maybe something he's looking to improve here as that one is hit on the ground, kind of squibbed towards the second baseman Montero. His throw over to first is offline, But a good play by Martini to stretch out and make the play.
Yeah, Martini absolutely bailing out Montero. He tried to make the throw on the run, charging that ground ball. His angle was going towards the mound, not at first base. So the throw across his body, and Martini had to fall and pancake on the ground to keep this one up. Nice play by the first baseman to get the out.
Now steps in the second baseman, Eli Henderson. Henderson yesterday played second but batted sixth. Today's in the 5-hole. He went 0 for 4, walked, and was stranded in the 5th. His first pitch to him is in the dirt, ball 1. His freshman year, he was all GMAC second team over at Cedarville University. As that one got him. Free 90 on the hit by pitch for Henderson.
Is it a Blues game without a hit by pitch?
No. He's pretty accustomed to getting hit, too. He's 28 in his college career in 2 seasons. It's a good amount. I mean, he has 336 at-bats and 28 hit by pitches. So, quick math, about 10% of the time he's up there, 9% of the time he's up there, he's getting hit.
That's Cal Poly math right there.
Journalism at its finest. As that one misses high. To Blake Gregory. Gregory started on opening day. Started the second game of the season. Throw over to first.
Blake Gregory got some time with the Blues last summer in non-conference play. He was one of those high schoolers on the short stint lists.
The 1-0 is a called strike to even it up at 1-1 from Cabrillo High School in Lompoc. Last season he hit .338 with 7 extra base hits, as that one is chopped past Coach Teixeira over at first.
Varsity baseball all 4 years of his high school career.
He had his best season his junior year, where he hit .411 with an 1161 OPS. 3 home runs that season, as he swings and rips that one foul past the bullpen on the Blues side and actually hit on the athletic trainer's station out there.
That was a Dylan Warren left-on-left changeup that time, and Blake Gregory got all of it. Probably won't see that pitch again.
That one is swung on out in front of the changeup that time. Popped up on the infield and caught by Martini. Makes the play just a few steps off the mound.
Yeah, just getting underneath it. He shockingly threw the changeup again, and the swing path of Blake Gregory was just underneath this baseball. It was tricky to catch that pop fly, too. I'm surprised we haven't talked about it yet, but the wind in today's game is just brutal. Not sure if you guys can tell on the broadcast here, but tents are flying around. Hair is getting messed up, as you probably saw in the pregame show for me. The flag is jetting out to left field. Pitchers' hats are falling off, so that'll definitely play a factor in today's ballgame.
First pitch, changeup barely misses to Brady Alves. And what Nate and I noticed about the wind up here in the press box, or I should say Nate really noticed it, is that the wind is jetting from right field foul pole to left field foul pole. But up here in the press box, the wind is blowing all of our papers and stuff from left to right. So the opposite way of which the wind is blowing out at the 395 marker.
Yeah, the wind is taking my scorebook back in time. It's flipping it back to games at Arizona State from this past season.
Pretty good lead over at first. It's the hat falls off the pitcher's head, and they called strike.
And the good thing about this wind here in the Central Coast, it doesn't carry a lot of things. In the desert and in the plains of the United States, it'll kick up dust and bugs and everything. It's pretty clear here on the Central Coast of California.
Big swing and a miss on the changeup.
Spent some time in Texas this past college baseball regular season, and the first night was a big dust storm. It's the wind. It was the same there as it is here, but the difference was it was carrying all this dirt and silt.
Fastball just misses out, and the count runs even at 2-2. Alves started on opening day, drew a couple of walks in his 4 plate appearances. He also played high school basketball and played football, as that one misses outside. And the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes, which means Eli Henderson, who still stands on first after being hit, will be taking off. We got a chance to talk to Brady during batting practice yesterday, and he told us he works on a dairy farm with his family ever since he grew up, as he swings and misses that strike 3, and that will do it for the inning. The Kings tack one on in the top of the third. The Blues, no damage done in the bottom of the second, as we head to the top of the third inning on the SLO Blues streaming network.
Tickets to this year's Blues games.
3-4-5 due up for the Kings. Martini and Romney. As the first pitch to Martinez is down. He struck out his first time.
Are they related?
Probably not, because their last names are different. Martini, this one is Martinez, who is in the box.
Yeah, see?
A righty from Livermore, currently plays at Cuesta and was first-team all-conference this last year, as he looks at strike 2.
And Bernal got him on an elevated sinker last time he was up, climbed the ladder, and I wonder if he'll go with the same sort of tactic here with 2 strikes.
2-strike pitch misses away. Played at Granada High School, which in his senior year, he were top 10 in the country. He earned the team's Matador Award, which is essentially their MVP, but Ty Bernal has struck him out twice in today's ball game.
Beautiful looking slider from Bernal. 4 strikeouts in his 2 1/3 innings pitched already. I'm telling you, the stuff is there for the kid. Just got to find it at the right spot and induce the swing and miss, and he's done so with Martinez.
What's been so impressive, too, as Martini looks at strike 1, is that Polasek and Martinez combined for 6 hits, 2 extra base hits, and a bunch of RBIs yesterday, and he has all 4 of his strikeouts have come against those 2 guys, and 2 of them are looking, which means they're just completely fooled up there.
Four RBIs to be exact.
That one is swung on and flared into left field. It's going to get down in front of Alves for a 1-out knock for Gio Martini.
Yeah, this one flared off the end of the bat for the left-handed hitting Martini, and a tough play to play in left field for Alves. The wind takes it, the wicked spin on the bat heading towards the chalk and left. There's a lot of different factors in fielding that baseball. There was really no chance for Alves. And with weather like today, it makes me think of when I played outfield, especially at junior college. When we had a wind like this, a crosswind that, gusts up to, 25 miles at 30 miles an hour today, that's when the hack attack comes out. And every one of the outfield groups are going, oh, no, are we going to do pop-ups in this weather? You can't hear anyone when you're communicating. It's hard to track in the air. It was just not a good deal when you're playing outfield and you get wind like this. You knew it was coming.
Swung on and fouled back. Even it up at 1-1. According to the weather app here on my iPad,
there we go.
we're looking at where are the wind speeds? 16-mile-an-hour wind speeds with gusts up to 25 miles an hour.
Nailed it.
That one is fouled back. Now, Nate and I self-proclaimed ourselves, came up with a new profession for ourselves, I should say, at the end of last season when we started doing our moon percentages.
That's right.
We were the moonologists.
Yeah, whole new name and everything.
Yeah. Not astrologists, because we don't know anything about anything that happens up in the sky other than we're somewhat decent at guessing how much of the moon we can see
right.
that night. And Nate and I are probably no what do you call, what's a weatherman? A meteorologist?
Meteorologist, yeah.
But maybe windologist for you?
Windologist.
Yeah. We're just throwing ologist on the end of words.
Just make it up.
Couple of pump fakes, and that one is hit off the hands. Comerford trying to make a play, slides, and is unable to grab it in foul ground. A good effort, but ball was just not hit very well. It was a long run for Comerford.
Yeah, very good hustle right there by the third baseman, Brendan Comerford. I was a little concerned on the fall he took, or it wasn't a fall. He tried to dive for it, and his foot looked like it might have gotten caught on a hole in the grass, and kind of an awkward tumble, but stands up and looks like he's okay. Tough kid over there, Comerford. A new arm getting loose in the Blues bullpen. Omar Reynoso getting hot. He pitched a couple nights ago.
That one is swung on and hit through the right side. Back-to-back base hits for the Kings as they are now in business with 2 on and just 1 out.
Yeah, Parker Romney hitting them where they ain't. Just perfectly placed ground ball on the right side. Henderson shadowing more towards the second base bag and didn't really have a chance on this one. He could book it as best as he could, got a decent break on it, but just a slow roller trickling into the outfield for a base hit.
In steps Joaquin Stewart. He grounded out in the second inning. First pitch to him is a sinker that misses inside. Yesterday, he took over in the 6th inning for Kevin Furuta, and he had a walk and a single. He also popped out to the catcher in foul territory. Called strike on the inner part to the Ohlone infielder.
A familiar face over at third base for him in Comerford.
The slider misses low and in. Good block by Gregory to keep the runners at their station.
He ought to know Comerford well, as he was named the team MVP last night by Ohlone College. Brendan was.
Swung on and missed. Blew the sinker by him. Stewart falls into a 2-strike count with 2 runners on.
There's so much arm side run on that pitch. If you can tunnel that with the changeup, it could be deadly.
Here's the 2-2 in the dirt. Count runs full. We'll see if the runners decide to go. We mentioned earlier, Martini not a huge threat over at second base. Only had 8 bags stolen this last year. Joaquin Stewart, small sample size at Ohlone this year. Had 38 at-bats, but 11 hits as he draws a walk, and the bases are loaded as Dean Traynor is making his way onto the field to talk to his pitcher. We haven't seen him make a move yet.
We've said before that though he's the manager of the Blues, when Dean Traynor comes out, it doesn't necessarily mean that a pitching change is going to happen because of anyone maybe in the stadium. He has the most pitching experience at a professional level.
Oh, I'd probably easily.
Yeah.
I'd say probably he might have. I mean, we don't know everybody in the stadium, but I would say he probably has more professional experience than everybody in the stadium combined does.
Yes.
So
Didn't pitch at the big league level, but played in the minor leagues for a while in Indianapolis and in Albuquerque for the Isotopes. Indianapolis Clowns.
the Isotopes, I'm not a Rockies fan, but I've always just loved that there's an Albuquerque team, and they're called the Isotopes. I don't know, like everything about them I just love.
Isotopes famously were not always a Rockies affiliate, though.
Yeah.
They're the Dodgers and the Florida Marlins.
I don't know, just something like that logo too. Like, I don't know, something about it. I just love it. Frisbee at the top of the zone misses.
Walter White wore an Isotopes hat in an episode of Breaking Bad.
I'm a big Breaking Bad guy.
There you go.
I actually don't even remember that.
Yeah, briefly. Show does take place in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Umpire just took his mask off, took a few steps onto the field, and was saying something to Ty Bernal. That sinker misses away. It kind of looked like he was telling Bernal to wait to come set before the batter made eye contact with him, but we don't have that here in the CCL.
Yeah.
That 2-0 sinker is skied into the Kings bullpen.
Big moment here for Ty Bernal. Bases juiced and one gone. If you can induce a ground ball here and flip a double play, that'd be monumental.
Able to come back down 2-0. A strike there evens it up at 2-2. Comerford and Johnson play on the grass. Middle infielders Henderson and Hall at double play depth. Slider swung on, hit pretty well out to right field. Hicksonbaugh, it's going to be Royal calling off Hicksonbaugh. And the run will score on the sacrifice fly as Romney moves up to third, and it is 3-0 Kings.
Honestly, on that fly ball that time, and I think EJ and Hicksonbaugh are having this conversation out in right field, I wouldn't mind if Hicksonbaugh actually took control and got that fly ball that time. He had a way better momentum swing to where the throw was going to go. EJ had to stop on a dime and throw across his body to get this one into the infield. Hicksonbaugh was already moving towards the infield dirt, so wouldn't have minded if he snagged that one that time. But when the center fielder calls you off, he has priority no matter what.
That's a good point. Noah Morton gets the RBI sac fly nonetheless, and Benji Rourke steps in, who has come to the plate now 7 times in this 2-game series and has reached base safely 5 times, but has only put the ball in play twice. And honestly, he's given up 3 runs, but I still don't hate the way that Ty Bernal has been throwing. He hasn't allowed – that was probably the hardest hit ball, that sac fly, that he's allowed all day long. It's really just weak contact and then a couple of errors that have hurt him. So that one's fouled off the hands.
And that's why it seems like this game is a lot – it seems like a 0-0 ball game, right? I mean, they're trailing – the Blues are trailing 3-0. But the way that Bernal has been inducing the soft contact against the West Coast Kings, it just kind of seems like we're notched at 0.
It's not like the Kings aren't doing anything special. They've drawn a couple of walks. They've got a couple of really weak swings as a nasty backdoor slider from Ty Bernal gets him out of the inning with just the 1 run of damage. The Blues will look to strike back in the bottom of the 3rd inning. For Nate Mills, I'm Ryan Giacomini here on the Slow Blues Streaming Network. Chris Johnson will lead it off for the Blues as they trail 3-0 to the West Coast Kings, who scored 11 runs in yesterday's game and beat the Blues 11-8. Blues still looking for their first hit here in the bottom of the third as Johnson looks at a pitch in the dirt for ball one. Fastball misses away. Johnson's quickly ahead 2-0. Johnson did not play his first season at Cuesta this last year, but slow high guy.
A pretty good senior season, too, over with the Tigers at Slow High, playing for Dean Trainer and Rene Regalado. Second team Mountain League his senior season in 2024.
That pitch misses just a bit outside, and the count runs to 3-1. 426 batting average with a 971 OPS. A pretty solid senior year for the 6'3", 240 first baseman, as he stares at ball four and will have a leadoff walk.
A leadoff walk, ill-advised and can come back to haunt you, and the Blues certainly hope they can do that here. The second base runner in today's ball game. The other one was an Eli Henderson hit by pitch, so not exactly the speed you want on the base paths in Chris Johnson, but hey, it still gives you a chance. It gives you some traffic on the base paths.
In steps Hayden Hall, another guy who is finishing up his high school days right now. So that one misses outside. Bat just a tick under 300 at Slow High with Dean and Rene this last season. And he said he wants to play baseball at Cuesta or major in ag management at Cal Poly, ag systems management, at Cal Poly, as he swings and misses.
It's not a bad place to major in ag system management.
No. Anything with ag in front of it,
you're
going to be pretty good at Cal Poly. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and hit pretty well right back up the middle for a base hit. Hayden Hall has the first hit for the Blues as they turn it over to E.J. Royal in the top of the order.
This one's solidly squared up off the bat of Hayden Hall, just under 90 miles an hour. Return to sender into left center field, and there we go. We got some things moving for the Blues, a hard-hit baseball.
Yeah, you got runners on first and second, and you throw it back to the top of the order, and E.J. Royal, who last season was the best Blue on the field with his 381 average and his near 500 slugging and 172 plate appearances, so not a small sample size. He stares at a first pitch strike that just barely catches the zone.
That pitch just kind of fluttered out of the hand of Dylan Warren. Started out, stayed out, broke out, and EJ didn't like that one bit. With an 0-0 count, he's got a lot of pitches to work with.
Spent 2 years at Cuesta before transferring to Utah Tech, as count evens up at 1-1. He had a rough season at Utah Tech. Nate talked about this a little bit yesterday in his Blues debut, but he hit just under 200. And just was not really hitting the ball hard. He said he was trying to lift the ball more than usual, just because that's kind of how it plays up in Utah at their home stadium, and it wasn't working for him. He said he's excited to be back here on the Central Coast, where his style of play, which is kind of just spraying the ball over the field, works a little bit better. Because the ball doesn't fly as well here, so it makes it a little easier to bloop down and get, easy base hits and doubles. As that one is skied into foul territory, playable for Martini, and he will catch it on a back pedal for the first out of the inning.
Tough play for Martini over at first, almost falling on his back, and again, the wind messing with that pop fly and foul ground. Royal frustratingly heads back into the dugout. But a tough break for the Blues because, as Ryan said, those numbers kind of tell the whole story of what how reliable he was for San Luis Obispo last year. And come in a situation where you have some momentum building with the walk and the single from Hayden Hall, to pop out there is it's a tough situation.
Here comes Hicks, who half swings at the first pitch. Appeal did not go. Ball one. Another guy looking for a new place to call home after finishing up his second year at Monterey Peninsula. As pitch catches the outside part and the aces are free. Local kid from Atascadero, batting from the left side. Was also pretty solid with the Blues last year. The best number, the number that stands out to me the most in his last year's stats were his 22 stolen bases. Considering he only played in 21 or started in 21 games, it's a pretty good average right there to steal a base every single game you're starting in.
Yeah, he and EJ were kind of in a stolen base contest last year. I remember EJ ended up with 19, and Hixenbaugh, of course, with 22. So he got the gold medal there.
2-1 off-speed pitch, and Hixenbaugh was out in front. Couldn't sit back on that changeup.
None of these Blues hitters really can. They're having trouble with their patience on those off-speed pitches, and you're going to see that a lot from Dylan Warren. So really got to adjust if they want to hit something hard and in the gap.
Here's his 2-2. And that one hit Hixenbaugh. Gets bailed out there as he gets hit by a pitch, and that'll load him up. The Ducks are quacking for Brendan Comerford.
They sure are. Bases full, bases loaded here in the third inning. And again, a hit by pitch, you'll certainly take those for Jake Hixenbaugh getting hit by the pitch. But for the Blues, you can't rely on stuff like that to happen every single time. Yes, it's nice, and we'll take it on the HBP. It fills up the bases for your best hitter so far. But I'm thinking big picture here about the season. Got to tag a baseball at some point.
Yeah. He had a pretty decent day yesterday where he had 2 hits. Neither one of them hit particularly hard, but on opening day he went 0 for 5. So he's still kind of just trying to figure everything out. Hit the ball hard, find some gaps. He only had 2 extra base hits last season. I know it's something he wants to change this year. And he said at Monterey Peninsula, the numbers don't quite tell you everything. He hit 231. He said he hit the ball hard and was just getting unlucky. Comerford swings and misses over the top of the elevated changeup.
Man, I know that better than anyone. That feeling of just hitting it hard. You feel like you crushed it and burnt someone, hit it over their head, and it's just off the wall, or they catch it on the wall. It's so frustrating, especially in my junior college years, my sophomore season. I felt like it would just square one up, and it's like, this is it. This is another extra base hit, and nope, just caught the wall or lined right at someone.
It's a good feeling until it goes into the glove. Here's the 1-2. Good eye from Comerford.
It's like, what do I need to do different? I'm doing everything right.
There's not much you can do. I mean, you got to just go back up there, and if you hit the ball hard every time you're up there, you're going to get hits. As Comerford hits the ball hard through the right side, that'll be a base hit. 1 run scores, and that'll be it, as kind of got caught up in the infield grass, and Montero was able to glove it at second base. But the Blues score a run, get one back, as it's 3-1.
Yeah, Comerford going the opposite way. We know about his pull side power. We see it in batting practice all the time. Wherever we go, goes the opposite way this time. Little cue shot through the 4-hole, cashing in a run for the Blues. They finally get on the board, and who else from their best hitter on the team right now?
Comerford, 4 RBIs yesterday, picked up right where he left off today with an RBI single in his second at-bat. That'll be Gavin Smith, who rips that one down the left field line, but foul.
Man, he is just hitting these baseballs foul. He had another one in his first at-bat today where he grounded out to second base, where it was just screamed down the left field line, and just not fair enough.
He was the man in opening day, hitting a 3-run home run in his debut, and this exact uniform, actually.
Yep.
As the changeup misses and the count evens out 1-1. 370-foot belter right over the Left Coast T-shirt company sign in left field as he swings and misses at that changeup for strike 2.
You certainly would like to have another one here, right? With the bases loaded, trailing by 2 against the West Coast Kings.
I think he would also be pretty content with a single. He knows Hixenbaugh got a lot of speed out there, and a single will definitely score 2.
For sure.
As it's not going to be a single. It's might fall. It's a pop-up Going to be played 10 steps into the outfield by the shortstop Stewart for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, just got underneath that one. He was maybe thinking long ball that time. You never know in summer baseball. A lot of people working on different things, or some guys are just wanting to let it fly. But with the head on Gavin Smith's shoulders, I don't think he was abandoning any sort of plan. He usually has a good idea of what he's doing up there. Just got underneath that one. Saw a pitch. His eyeballs got big. He wanted to crush it, and I think for the most part stuck with the plan. But just it's a game of centimeters, Ryan. Millimeters.
Yes. Steps Henderson, who was hit by a pitch his first time. The lefty takes a ball. Change up from Dylan Warren. Eli Henderson started in all 100 games the last 2 seasons as he rips that one back up the middle, but it's going to be gloved by Stewart. He'll throw it over to first to end the inning. The Blues get a run back on an RBI base hit from Brendan Comerford. They still trail it 3-1 as I will toss it back to Nate Mills. He will take you the rest of the way here on the SLO Blues streaming network.
New pitcher on the mound for the San Luis Obispo Blues. Ty Bernal's day is done. 3 innings of work, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts for the 16-year-old from Mission Prep High School. It's now Omar Reynoso, the southpaw from San Mateo College and a graduate of St. Joe's High School down in Santa Maria. He comes set at the belt as he faces Jaden Montero. Looks at the first offering outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Montero today singled in the second inning for the first hit of the afternoon for the West Coast Kings in a 3-1 ball game in the top half of the fourth. Reynoso kicks and deals, and this one squibbed in front of the Kings' dugout for strike 1. Montero batting ninth and playing second base today. Came into pinch hit and then stayed in the game in the 7th last night. Went 0 for 2 and struck out swinging. He replaced Rogan Bodie over at shortstop. 1-1. This one hit to the shortstop, and it's underneath the glove of Hall. It trickles into left field for a base hit. Jaden Montero with the single to start things off in the 4th inning.
Well hit ball, just snuck under the glove of Hall. Taught at a very young age when you're playing on the infield, get the glove in the dirt. He just had it up 6 inches too high and Snuck underneath.
Down to up, they say, as the leadoff man Joey D'Amelio digs in the right-handed batter's box with a runner on first. Nice move over to first base on the pickoff, but Montero is back safely. Left-handers just have such an unfair advantage. You can see the base the whole time. You just lift up the leg and then step over to first. And looks like there's some complications over at first base with Montero. As he talks with the first base coach, might have jammed his thumb or something as he's squeezing all of his fingers together on that right hand. Home plate umpire first base umpire letting Dean Traynor know the situation. And yeah, he had the oven mitt on his left hand, and his right one got jammed on the bag. And he wraps it on at first base as he still flexes his fingers. And Joey D'Amelio waits to get back in the batter's box. He finally does.
I feel like the oven mitt's a new accessory. It's become pretty popularized in the last couple of years, and I think if I still played, I would use one. I don't see any reason not to.
Yeah. D'Amelio watches the first pitch down the heart of the plate for a strike. Yeah, oven mitt was an accessory I like to wear a lot, too. You asked me a little earlier what I like to wear. Wasn't a shin Evo Shield guy or even an elbow, but yeah, the oven mitt once I got on base. Short lead over at first base. The 0-1 count to D'Amelio, and he watches the sweeper for strike two. And I actually have some more information. When I was answering your question, I mentioned I was loyal to the Bruce Bolt batting glove brand. I have some more information about the letters I actually exchanged with someone who worked there at Bruce Bolt, something you don't hear often. And here's the 0-2 to D'Amelio, and he swings it, taps it back foul. So the company is ran by Bear Meyer, who I exchanged messages with. He was just 16 at the time. And he started the company in 2017. He was just a year older than me. And his grandpa, Bruce, is who the company is actually named after. Why it's called Bolt? Bear's last name is Meyer. I'll let you know why it's called Bolt. 0-2, missing upstairs, no balls and 2 strikes. His grandpa, Bruce, was struck by lightning twice.
Wow.
Hence, Bruce Bolt. Pretty cool.
It's a pretty catchy name, too.
Isn't it?
The Bruce Bolts.
The alliteration, the double B. Now everyone wears those gloves. 1-2. Sweeper, dribbled to the third base coach. And for a foul ball, 1-2 once again.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't play anymore, but if I did, I think I would use the sliding mitt, the oven mitt, as we've been calling it. I feel like there's no disadvantage to it.
No.
It extends your hand a little bit. It's going to protect you from, if you get hit or cleated in the hand, at least partially, and it allows you to just be a little more elusive.
Here's a 1-2. D'Amelio off the hands, towers it into shallow left field. Hall, the shortstop, calls everyone off and makes the grab, running backwards for the first out of the inning. Typically that's a play for Alves, but I think he was playing so deep it was hard for him to get there in time. I think he tried calling off Hall, but just couldn't get there. So now that's the first out of the inning after the leadoff single from Jaden Montero. And now it's Dylan Pulisic. Ty Bernal had the number of Pulisic in his outing. 2 strikeouts, 1 looking and 1 swinging. Now a new look from Omar Reynoso. First pitch sweeper misses low and inside for a ball. Not too different, though, because tonight's starter was Ty Bernal, who was left-handed. Reynoso is a southpaw as well. Just a little bit of different arm slot, too. Again, with Reynoso, the story with him is not necessarily the velocity, but the stuff, as he starts him off with a sweeper. Here's a fastball on the outer corner for a strike. Pulisic 3 for 5 last night with a double.
Oh, commend Reynoso, though. He's brought his average pitch velocity up about 4 miles an hour, at least on the fastball from last season.
1-1, another sweeper missing low and outside, 2 balls and a strike.
Last year he was pretty consistently, that fastball was around 77, 78, and sitting around 81, 82 now. So, a little bit better than last season. He's still got 4 more years of college to, figure out the velo.
2-1, another off speed missing outside, fills it up at 3-1. The count to Pulisic. Montero with a very conservative lead over at first base. We saw the speed of the Warrior from Jessup University up in Northern California, and he's not threatening over there at first base. Again, about a couple steps off the bag, nothing crazy. As Pulisic awaits the 3-1, and a four-seamer misses outside for ball 4. Omar Reynoso with his first walk of the inning, and it puts a runner on first base. And moves the runner over to second in Montero.
For the West Coast Kings, it's number 18.
Fourth walk of the day, earned by the West Coast Kings. And now it's A.J. Martinez, who had his troubles against Bernal as well with 2 strikeouts. First pitch is off the hands and right back into the netting for strike 1. We talk about the nice high school career that Martinez had at Granada, who was one of the 10 best teams in the country, got the Matador Award there. They won the NorCal D1 championship his senior season, but continued that success as a first-team all-conference player at Cuesta. Heater missing outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. And I don't really care if it's junior college. If it's any level of college baseball and you can get a hit almost 40% of the time, that's impressive. Martinez did that with his .356 batting average. 1-1 missing high and outside, 2 balls and a strike. No home runs for the rising sophomore from Livermore, California. He did rally across 5 doubles and 3 triples. There's runners on first and second. Wants to do something similar to that now. Up 3-1 against the Blues. 2-1 hit off the end of the bat into center field. Royal ranging to his right. Now backpedaling, makes the one-handed squeeze. Tagging from second and heading to third is Montero. The throw is cut off by the shortstop Hall. So a productive out somewhat for A.J. Martinez on the fly ball to center field by Royal to record the second out of the inning. And I say somewhat only because just 1 runner advanced from second to third. I guess it just puts another insurance running scoring position even closer in scoring position. The runner at first and Pulisic stayed at the bag. So here's Gio Martini, 1 of 2 this afternoon with a single. Came around to score on a Noah Morton sacrifice fly in the second inning. A pick over to first, and Pulisic's back standing. 2 gone in the top of the 4th inning. Blues trail 3-1 to the West Coast Kings on Memorial Day. Beautiful Monday at Sinsheimer Stadium with the wind howling and the sun shining. Runners at the corners. Here's the first pitch. Missing high and tight for a ball. Martini, a D2 baseball player at Cal State East Bay, a native of Brentwood, California, and NorCal. As a SoCal native myself, I think of Brentwood as Los Angeles. Not the case. 1-0. Fastball down the middle of the plate for a strike. Stayed in the Bay to play for the Pioneers and had a real nice true freshman season, batting .320. 1-1. Martini waves and misses at the sweeper for a strike. Fans mutter for some hot sauce. Kind of sleepy in the way they did so as they bake in the sun. 1-2. Fastball just missing outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Crystal clear skies on the Central Coast today. 67 degrees and sunny. UV only at 6. Not optimal for tanning. 2-2. Sweeper hits him on the elbow. And Martini thought about swinging. And the home plate umpire is going to say he leaned into it. And I think that'll be strike 3. So to me, it looked like Martini looked like he was about to swing. But I think the home plate umpire is saying that he leaned into the slider. Call him out on that lean in, and the side is retired. So the West Coast Kings come up empty for the first frame this game. 3-1 Kings heading to the bottom of the 4th on the Slow Boost Streaming Network. Home half of the fourth inning, and it's a good time to remind you that it is never too early to purchase tickets for our signature fireworks game on July 3rd. Celebrate the Stars and Stripes and watch the Blues play under the lights at our biggest game of the summer. Save your seat now and secure those tickets at bluesbaseball.com. New arm on the mound for the West Coast Kings, and unsure who it is as we're seeing a substitute run on to the field at second base for the Kings. I'm not sure if this is a sub or someone who just got out there late. Playing second base right now is Jaden Montero. This guy looks like he's wearing number 4. Montero is wearing number 1. Looks like that's Kevin Ferruta, who started last night's game. Montero came in to replace him later on, and uncertain as to why Montero has exited today's contest, but either way, it's Ferruta.
He is the guy who jammed his finger over at first base.
Ah, yes.
So maybe something's wrong with that. It was his right hand too. Maybe he can't fully grip the ball or something like that, and I decided to tell his coach that he needed the rest of the day off.
Montero was 2 for 2 today, had 2 singles and stole third base. So his day is done, and with the Blues up, Blake Gregory digs in. He's 1-0 against the new arm as another fastball is in there for a strike. Uncertain on who the new right-hander is for the West Coast Kings. We'll get that information to you as soon as possible. For now, it's Blake Gregory, the catcher, hitting for the Blues. As the 1-1 pitch misses outside, 2 balls and a strike. Gregory popped up to the first baseman Martini last time he was up.
The new pitcher is wearing number 40, which is Shane Saunders' number, but doesn't really appear to be Saunders, and he isn't thrown in his college career, so that's why we're assuming it's not him.
Saunders plays at Folsom Lake Community College. No pitching stats there. No pitching stats in high school as well. Here's the 3-1. Gregory scoots out of the way on a four-seamer that looked awfully close to me. 88 miles an hour, what looked like to be on the black, but just missing inside. A leadoff walk to the catcher, Blake Gregory. So now here's Brady Alves with a runner on first base, wearing number 14 today. A couple games ago when he made his start on opening day, he was wearing number 39. And in the true spirit of summer ball, he has switched his jersey number to 14. A right-hander from Fallon, Nevada in the right-handed batter's box as the fastball misses outside. A ball, no strikes. Alves plays at Butte Community College and is entering his redshirt freshman season. Popped up into shallow right field. Ferruta and Pulisic communicate, and Ferruta drops the baseball. He throws over to second, though, to get the lead runner and Gregory.
Not much you could do there for Gregory. He, played it perfectly, was 2 or 3 steps off the bag, was waiting, and then it looked like Ferruta had settled under it, and so he took a step back to the bag, and as soon as he did that, Ferruta dropped the ball, and it will go as a fielder's choice for Alves.
The wind does some strange things to those baseballs in the air, but either way, that's got to be caught by Pulisic. The right fielder has priority on that play. Here's Chris Johnson, the first baseman, batting 8th and hitting with 1 out and a runner on first base. Blues trailing 3-1 to the West Coast Kings in the home half of the 4th. Johnson walked the first time he was up in the 3rd. Takes a look at a strike here and has scored the only run of the Blues this afternoon. Came in on a Brendan Comerford RBI single that was squibbed through the 4-hole. 0-2, and he slaps it on the ground left side, backhanded by Stewart. Makes the throw across his body to first to retire the lumbering first baseman for the second out of the inning.
Good play there by Stewart, and Stewart knew that Johnson wasn't going to get down the line very quickly, so he fielded the ball, made sure he got everything together, and then made a strong throw over to first rather than rushing it and possibly making an error. Very smart play to just recognize the slower Chris Johnson at the plate and not rush the throw. And
unfortunately, any other runner on this roster is probably safe on that play. Here's Hayden Hall, right-hander, with a runner in scoring position and 2 gone. First pitch in the dirt outside, 1-0. Hayden, like Johnson, a slow high school Tiger, although Chris graduated in 2024. Hayden just finished up his senior season in SLO. The second-team All-Sunset League selection. And Chris Johnston was also a second-team All-League selection too, except they were in the mountain when he was picked. Hayden Hall also played football, middle linebacker. Don't want to meet him in the A-gap. 6 foot, 185 pounds. 2-0. It's a big bouncing ball to the third baseman Martinez, who fields it on the grass, and the first baseman Martini can't pick it. The ball kicks away. Coming in to score is Brady Alves. Advancing to second on the errant throw is Hall, and the Blues bring it within 1 in the bottom half of the 4th.
The Blues benefit from an error. They had so many of them yesterday, and they just got killed yesterday by them, but this time it gives them a run and cuts this lead down to just 1.
Again, Ryan, the most Blues way of scoring runs in an early season that you could get.
Yeah, but you'll take it. At this point, the bats aren't alive. You'll take runs however you can get them.
3-2 West Coast Kings, and the leadoff man, E.J. Royal, now up with a runner at second. And Royal watches a pitch outside, blocked up by O'Rourke, keeps it in front. Runner stays at second base, 1 ball, no strikes. EJ also a local. Arroyo Grande High School, played for the Eagles. In the portal after 2 seasons as a Bison at Utah Tech, playing in St. George, Utah. 1-0, misses in the other batter's box, 2 balls and no strikes. We talked about a little earlier when he was first up how Sinsheimer keeps hitters like EJ honest, and it's honestly a great reason why college baseball players should play at Sinsheimer Stadium, because the ball is not going to travel if you put it in the air. We've talked about the chaotic winds as we see the American flag almost come off the line out in center field. When you got wind like that, it doesn't do you any good to put it in the air. It's not going to travel as E.J. Royal draws the walk with 2 gone. First base was open. Now those runners at first and second, and 2 outs for Jake Hicksonbaugh, who is 0 for 1 today with a hit by pitch. But EJ's struggles at Utah Tech came from trying to compare himself to others and lifting the baseballs. All my friends are hitting home runs. We're in elevation. Why shouldn't I? And he got a little bit too caught up in that. Bit of a mental season for EJ. Now trying to correct that here as he's entered the portal and playing for the Blues for his 2nd summer in a row. Here's Hicksonbaugh playing for his 3rd summer in a row for San Luis Obispo. First pitch missing low and inside, 1-0. Hicksonbaugh also started last night, too. DH'd and batted 7th. 2 for 5 and scored 2 runs. 1-0, high and outside. Hitters count now, 2 balls and no strikes. Infield shifted to the left-handed hitter's pull side. The shortstop, Stewart, close to second base, as he holds on Hayden Hall, and Hicksonbaugh sends it straight back. 2 balls and 1 strike. Big grimace on his face. He knew that's a pitch he liked, and when you get an account like that, you're certainly going to get to hacking. It's that much more frustrating when you don't barrel it right up. 2 walks in the inning and an error, as the 2-1 misses high. The first walk from Gregory was forced out at second, and the error in Hayden Hall is at second base. The error is what also caused Brady Alves to score in the 4th, and what is now a 3-2 game. 3-1, high and outside for ball 4. 3rd walk of the inning, 2nd consecutive walk issued by the West Coast Kings in the mystery pitcher. Now it's Brendan Comerford with the bases loaded.
And this whole half inning, I've been trying to figure out if this is Shane Saunders, and it's not. I think I've come to the conclusion. I don't think Shane Saunders has probably pitched since Little League.
Yeah.
Because I can't find anything on him on any baseball website ever known to man.
Detective Ryan on the case. As broadcasters, you got to be a good detective, too.
Yeah.
And that's for real. I'm not even joking.
Especially in the CCL early in the season when you have like a bunch of high school guys or guys who maybe redshirted their first year. You just have to be able to find things to talk about these players.
First pitch to Comerford, plunks him in the back. And that one didn't feel good Looks like it hit his left shoulder blade. He sways his arm around. A hit by pitch with the bases loaded ties the game at 3. Again, classic way for the Blues to score the run.
I mean, Comerford now in his last 6 at-bats has 6 RBIs. So, I mean, whether he likes it or not, that is an RBI for him, and the Blues will take it as they tie it up.
So Shane Saunders or not, this right-hander wearing number 40 comes out of the game, and a new pitcher in for the Kings. We'll introduce you to him right after this. Blues tie it at 3 after a hit by pitch in the bottom of the 4th on the SLO Blues streaming network. New pitcher for the Kings in what is now a 3-3 ball game. Brendan Comerford was hit by a pitch to cash in the 3rd run of the day for San Luis Obispo. It's now Nick Guidry, a right-hander from Butte Community College, as he pitches to Gavin Smith with the bases loaded. And Smith watches that fastball go for a strike. Nipping the outside corner for strike 1 is Guidry, who last season made 3 appearances at Butte Community College. 2 1/3 innings pitched, 1 strikeout and 3 walks. 2 earned runs, 3 total. Smith watches a sweeper outside, a ball and a strike. Gavin Smith is famously one of the best hitters in Arizona high school baseball history. Had a pretty decent year at Harvard with the Crimson last year, where he drove in 5. Right back up the middle. It trickles into the outfield for a base hit. E.J. Royal comes in to score. Here comes Hicksonbaugh. 2-run single for the Blues. They take the lead 5-3.
That's a beautiful swing by Gavin Smith and breaks this game wide open with the first base hit of the inning. The Blues score their 4th run of the inning. And that'll send it over to Eli Henderson, who could add on some more with a runner still in scoring position.
RBI number 4 and 5 for Smith on this young season, as there's now runners on 1st and 2nd for Henderson, who was hit by a pitch and grounded out to the shortstop Stewart to end the 3rd inning. And Henderson roped a ball to right field yesterday, and what was an F9, he ropes one here, and that one falls for a base hit. Here's a green light coming around 3rd. Now Smith's getting the wave as well. He trots into second base with a 2-run double. Blues pull away 7-3.
Just a beautiful piece of hitting. Attack the first pitch, rip it down the line, and he has himself a double. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the Blues' 2nd extra base hit of the summer in game number 4. The bats are starting to come alive here in the 4th.
And this is the hard contact we were looking for. Gavin Smith with a decently squared out ball right up the middle. Henderson, right as I was talking about the hard hit ball on his pull side yesterday, duplicates the same exact piece today and brings in 2 runs. So now it's 7-3 in the bottom of the 4th, and here comes Blake Gregory, who led off this inning. Gregory watches the offering high and outside for ball 1. Guidry has come in and surrendered 2 hits and 4 runs. And the 1-0 misses high. 2 balls and no strikes. Only one of those runs will go under Guidry's name. And that's Gavin Smith. 2 peaks at second. Now delivers. And the 2-0 is an off speed down the heart of the plate for a strike. Not the pitch you're looking for in a hitter's count. 2 balls and no strikes. Still up, though, 2-1. Gregory 0 for 1 today and walked to start this inning. Spins this one right back in the netting behind home plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Got to be tough here in a 2-strike count. Left-handed hitter with the 4-hole wide open on the infield. Another insurance run at second base. That's Eli Henderson, who drove in 2 with a double. 7-3 Blues in the home half of the 4th. Here's the 2-2. And Gregory watches that one. Looked like down the middle to me, but they call it a ball for ball 3. I'm not sure where that missed, Ryan.
I think out over the plate is where it missed.
Either way, a full count now. Payoff pitch with 2 outs. He swings and misses for strike 3, but not before the Blues have a blow-up inning for the first time this summer. A 6 spot in the bottom half of the 4th makes it 7-3 San Luis Obispo. Heading to the 5th on the SLO Blues streaming network. New pitcher for the San Luis Obispo Blues. It's Will Paxton, who pumps his right leg in the windup and delivers the first pitch for a strike to Park Romney in what is now a 7-3 ball game. The Blues lead the West Coast Kings. A blow-up inning, a 6 spot in the bottom half of the fourth, a double from Henderson and a single from Gavin Smith cashed in 4 runs there. Here's the 0-1 to Romney, missing low and outside. A ball and a strike from Paxton from Tehachapi, California. A two-way player, outfielder and right-handed pitcher, and a graduate of Highland High School. Just finished up his freshman season at St. Peter's University. 1-1, towered into shallow right, comes back into the infield. Makes the grab for the first out of the inning. That's Henderson with the two-handed squeeze.
Henderson, the hero in the bottom of the fourth, and makes a play in the top of the fourth. And Nate and I have talked almost every time there's a high towering pop-up or fly ball about it's not an easy play. It looks very routine, but the wind is blowing so hard here that even that play for Henderson, he had to take an extra step in right at the very end to squeeze that ball and make the grab.
Now here's Joaquin Stewart, who's 0 for 1 today with a walk. Stewart watches a sweeper outside, 1-0. More on Will Paxton, a 9.73 earned run average in 53 2/3 innings pitched. His true freshman season at St. Peter's. 35 strikeouts to his 37 walks. Command has been the issue. That's why you play these games here in summer ball with the Blues. .0 is hit up and out of play on the right side for a strike. Started in 10 games at St. Peter's, made 16 appearances, 1-6 record. There you go, Ryan. Ryan's the only guy I know who keeps track of pitcher wins and losses in the modern era. In the big 2025, if you will. 1-1 outside and rolls to the backstop, 2 balls and a strike.
It's not, it's not when I'm a big numbers guy, so it's just
of course.
It's not one of those numbers that I'm going to pay a lot of attention to, but it is important to know that your team wins when you're out on the mound.
Right.
For example,
2-1. Lazily hit to the shortstop Hall, who fields it on the charge and throws it over to first in time for the second out.
Again, you're going to hear me talk a lot about the Giants because that's just the baseball team I watch the most, but Robbie Ray is 7-0 right now, and I don't think he's, an excellent pitcher by any means. He's had a pretty solid season with about a 2.7 ERA, but it's just important to know that when he's on the mound, the team has confidence in him that he's going to go out there and throw the ball well, and the team's going to hit, and they're going to score runs and win games.
I agree, but I think a better thing to look at would be, do they win when Robbie Ray starts? Not an official win,
Yes.
has to go 5 innings. I am on the train of just, do they win when he starts?
I agree.
I'll go with that.
I would also say I would rather have a pitcher with a starter, let's say, with a 3.5 ERA with a 1-10 record. If the team is, let's say the teams have the same records. They both go 500 or whatever. I'd rather have a pitcher that has a horrible record but a decent ERA or a good ERA than a pitcher who's 10-1 with a 4 ERA.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd rather a guy who could throw strikes and keep runs off the board than a guy who allows a lot of runs, but somehow they win games still.
2-0 pitch misses outside. That's 3 straight from the new arm, Will Paxton, to the left-handed hitter for the West Coast Kings, and Noah Morton.
Numbers are just so fun. So much you can do with numbers, especially in baseball. Just manipulate them to do what you want and to come up with these fun stats.
3-0 taken for a strike. You heard it here first. Ryan likes to manipulate people.
One thing I really wish we could calculate here in the CCL is WAR, but it's just impossible. But it would be so fun to see, E.J. Royal. What did he have in his 150 abs? What was his WAR?
3-1. Misses low and inside. That's ball 4 to Morton. So a 2-out walk keeps things alive in the 5th after 2 quick ones. It's Benji O'Rourke, who has scored one of the 3 runs today for the Kings.
Those of you who don't know, WAR stands for wins above replacement, and the reason why we can't calculate it in the CCL is because it takes a player's hypothetical value, but it compares it to other players within the league. So we would have to have in-depth stats about every single player in the CCL, which we don't.
Same reason we don't have OPS Plus, too.
Yeah.
Talked about that yesterday. Runner on first, 2 gone for Benji O'Rourke, today's catcher for West Coast. And this one missing outside for ball 1. Paxton, majoring in sports management at St. Pete's, pitcher for the Blues, was valedictorian at Highland High School. 1-0 in there for a strike. Last summer, we had 2 valedictorians on the team.
Yes, we did.
Max Lane and Nico Button. And it looks like we're going to have a pinch runner at first. Coming off the base is Noah Morton. And, yeah, Morton's going to come out of this game. And it looks like Andrew Wilford, Bellarmine outfielder, will come in to replace him.
Don't see a lot of pinch runners in a 1-1 count with 2 outs.
No. Only in the CCL. 1-1 count to O'Rourke, who I assume won't get pitch in for in the middle of this at-bat. With 2 gone, trailing by 4 to the Blues. Long pause. Now comes home, and a low bouncer to Johnson, who gloves it with 2 hands. Flips it over to first in time, and the side is retired. The Kings strand a runner on. They don't get any. They still trail by 4 to the Blues. Halfway through at Sinsheimer on the SLO Blues streaming network. Fifth inning is brought to you by our friends at Ancient Owl Beer Garden and Bottle Shop, your go-to spot for every Blues road game. Located just around the corner from Sinsheimer Stadium, Ancient Owl is the official home of the Blues watch party all season long. Ancient Owl, choose your beer wisely. Blues lead 7-3 against the West Coast Kings as Brady Alves take a hack at the first offering for a strike. Sent it straight back into the net. Alves 0 for 2 today, reached on a fielder's choice in the 4th and came around to score on Gavin Smith's 2 RBI single. Also struck out swinging to end the 2nd inning. And he rolls inside at a pitch that almost hit him. A ball and a strike to Alves. And Ryan mentioned it briefly, but Brady grew up on a dairy farm. I asked him, does he ever put in work with the cows? He says yes. Checks a swing on a sweeper, and it's called a strike either way.
And, you know, I come from a family that does a lot of dairy farming.
Oh.
I personally, my immediate family, we were not dairy farmers, but my great-grandfather owned a dairy farm that's still in our family name out in Point Reyes, California.
1-2, swung on and missed for strike 3. It's drop third strike. They throw it over to first, and it's in time to retire Alves for the first out of the inning.
And one thing I can tell you about dairy farming, again, not from experience, but from relative experience, is that you have the strongest hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah. I mean, those hay bales, grabbing those by the little strings, carrying those around, just doing a ton of heavy lifting and things that are getting down and dirty, blue-collar work.
Country strong as Chris Johnson wears that one on the elbow like a big country boy that he is at 6'3", 240. Deflecting right off them on the hit by pitch in the bottom half of the fifth.
I don't remember. I shook Brady's hand yesterday when I met him officially. I don't remember if it was a firm, strong, country, dairy handshake or not. Can't remember.
You would know with the dairy farm in your family.
Yes, no, I know.
You know a dairy handshake when you feel it.
Anytime I go to a family function, I have to brace my hand to just get broken.
Yeah. First pitch to Hayden Hall, missing low and outside. I'd be curious to see, and this has happened on social media a bunch of times with baseball teams or sports teams. Have you ever seen that grip strength test?
Yeah.
I want to see Brady Alves do that.
Yeah, he's probably getting in the 150 plus would be my guess.
1-0. This one towered into center field. D'Amelio racing in. He calls everyone off, makes the running grab for the second out of the inning. 150 pounds of force, is that the units?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the average human is around 120, 130, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
The average adult male is around that range. So I think,
Got to be higher than 150 then.
I'm just thinking because he's not fully grown yet. He still has some growing to do. Most adult men stop growing around 25. So I'm thinking 150 is where he'd be at around his age now. That'd be just my guess.
Yeah. Here's E.J. Royal on a fastball on the outer half for a strike. Forgiving call for the pitcher, Goodry. Either way, 0-1 to E.J. with a runner on first and 2 gone. Long hold, now Goodry comes home, and Royal watches the slider for a strike. Nice pitch, started inside and broke into the center part of the zone for strike 2. Two gone, Blues up 7-3 in the home half of the fifth inning. Here's the 0-2. Royal spits on the sweeper outside, a ball and 2 strikes. Nice leave after seeing that slider start on the inside and break into the middle. You see it start in the middle, and then break outside and not offering. That's a nice leave. Conservative lead at first for Chris Johnson. On the 1-2. EJ, no doubt about that one, leaves in the other batter's box. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Blues put up the 6 runs in the bottom of the fourth, and with 2 outs would love to scratch across another couple more, especially with a runner on and the top of the order up.
Middle of the infield wide open for Royal as the 2-2 is slapped into the 5-5 hole, a base hit. EJ finds a way to put one into some real estate.
That is probably the best hit I think I've seen so far from the Blues this summer. He got the foot down early, recognized it was the slider, kept his hands and his weight back, and then as soon as the slider came into his hitting zone right where he wanted it, he hit it as hard as he could through the left side and got himself a base hit.
EJ keeping the bottom of the fifth alive and added some more ducks on the pond for the Blues. And here's Jake Hicksonbaugh now with runners on first and second. Hicksonbaugh leaves that one downstairs for a ball. Last time Jake was up, he walked in the fourth, was also hit by a pitch and grounded out to the second baseman, who was then Montero. It's now Ferruta. For one day, good on-base percentage day, though, with the hit by pitch and walk. 1-0. Hicksonbaugh swings and misses at the off-speed for a strike. And Jake, one of the 2 left-handed batters in today's lineup for the Blues. Blues up 7-3 over the West Coast Kings after an inflated fourth inning where they scratched across 6 runs. 4 of them coming from a single from Smith and a double from Henderson. Hicksonbaugh leaves that one inside. 2 balls and a strike. The Kings got 3 runs in 3 innings. A leadoff walk in the first scored on an error, and a walk in the second scored And a single from Martini's score. Hixenbaugh leaves that one outside. 3 balls and a strike. Hitters count to the lefty from Monterey Peninsula College, who is in the transfer portal looking for a place to play at a 4-year. Three-one count, 2 gone. Bottom half of the 5th. Blues up 7-3. Runners on first and second. Here's the pitch. Hixenbaugh swings and misses for strike 2. An enticing-looking fastball in the upper half of the zone. Tried to elevate it with the wind blowing out. He comes up empty, fills it up at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
I like that aggressive swing. Hitters count, 2 outs, not a lot to lose, up 4. Just swing as hard as you can. He whiffed, but still has another pitch he gets to see.
A peek at second. No one holding on Johnson as both runners go. And Hixenbaugh flares it up and by the merchandise tent out of play. We'll do it again at 3 balls and 2 strikes. You talk about country strong, a big country boy like Chris Johnson and the country strength of Brady Alves. Jake Hixenbaugh is in the heart of farming country territory growing up in Atascadero. I feel like it's a rite of passage to at least own a pig or a chicken if you live out there.
Even if it's just one of those house pigs.
Yeah. 3-2. Way up and outside for ball 4. Jake Hixenbaugh walks for the second plate appearance in a row, and it fills the bases for Brendan Comerford.
Exactly the guy you want up with the bases loaded and 2 outs. 6 RBIs in his last 6 at-bats.
Drove in a run in the 3rd with his single, and drove in a run technically with his hit by pitch in the 4th. Bases loaded for Comerford again. Johnson at 3rd, Royal at 2nd, Hixenbaugh at 1st. First pitch is a curveball that locks him up for strike 1.
Good pitch. I don't think Comerford was expecting a first pitch curveball after giving up a walk, and like you mentioned, it kind of just buckled him and was unable to recover as it dropped into the zone.
Goodry comes set from the belt, now kicks and deals on the 0-1, and another curveball is in there for a strike. Now having to be tough with 2 is Brendan Comerford, who I'm glad to see back out there after getting hit in that left shoulder blade. Looked like it sent shock waves throughout his left arm. He was shaking it as he was walking towards first base. That was last inning, now in the 0-2, and a 3rd straight curveball, and he watches it for ball 1. Didn't miss by much. Tried to hit the inner half of the zone, and Comerford watched it. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
It's a good take, I guess. According to our technology, it was close, but it was a ball. So
Good call by the home plate umpire then. Here's the 1-2, and another curveball missing inside. Comerford matrixed out of the way. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And you got to wonder at what point you go with the heater. But a fun moment here. Number 2 up. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Deuces are extra wild, Ryan. 2-2, lazily popped in the air to shallow right. Second baseman Ferruda calls off the right fielder Pulisic, and he makes the grab, falling backwards for the 3rd out of the inning. Blues strand the bases loaded, but they're still up 7-3 against the West Coast Kings heading into the 6th inning on the SLO Blues streaming network. 7-3, in the top half of the sixth inning. The Blues lead the West Coast Kings on this Memorial Monday at Sinsheimer Stadium. Will Paxton back out there for his second inning of work. And he will face Furtura, who spoils that one on the third base side and foul for a strike. So Jaden Montero jammed his thumb diving back into first base, which is ironic because he had an oven mitt on, his left hand, a protective mitt, but it was on the wrong hand. So he's now out of the game, too much pain on that thumb, and so now it's Furtura in his spot batting ninth. Here's a sweeper from Paxton taken for strike two. Montero finished the day 2 for 2 and a stolen base, was stranded on third both times he was up. Paxton buries his face in his leather glove as he comes through in the windup. 0-2, sweeper just missing outside. Furturo thought about offering, but he held up. Ball and 2 strike now. Last time the Kings scored a run, it was in the third inning on a Noah Morton sacrifice fly. Been shut out the past 2 frames, and they now trail by 4 to the Blues. Here's the 1-2. Furtura leaves that one high, 2 balls and 2 strikes. 94 miles an hour, hot off the press from Will Paxton. That's the hardest pitch we've seen all summer from Blues thrower. Two and 2 from the windup. Here's the pitch. Sweeper hit high in the air in a shallow center, the shortstop. Hall calls everyone off and makes the backpedaling catch for the first out of the inning. And I think we might need to recalibrate the TrackMan technology here. Not 94 miles an hour. We hit the refresh button. Actually said 81. So that record will stay at 90 miles an hour from a couple of arms. And it's the leadoff man, Joey D'Amelio, with one gone. He swings and hits it off the catcher, Gregory, for strike one. D'Amelio today, an RBI single in the second, stole a base. And had a leadoff walk in the first, scored the first run of the day for the Kings, and then popped out to the shortstop, Hall. Middle of the infield, wide open for the tall right-hander from Pepperdine. 0-1 from Will Paxton. Fastball in there for a strike on the outer half. No balls and 2 strikes to D'Amelio, who I think you'd find this interesting, Ryan. Grew up in San Mateo, California, so he's a Giants fan,
okay.
San Francisco Giants,
yeah.
but is a Los Angeles Football Rams fan.
Okay.
What? 0-2. Misses high for a ball.
There is way worse things to be than a Rams fan, to be honest.
Like what?
Seahawks, Chiefs, Raiders.
Typically the
Patriots.
Typically the combo you see is Dodgers and Niner fan.
Yeah.
That's common here in SLO. 1-2. Missing outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. How do you think this happens, though, Rams and Giants?
The only thing I can think of is that he had some influence to be a Rams fan from somewhere in his family. And, I mean, at the time he started watching football, I guess maybe Kurt Warner,
2-2 sent up and out of play. We'll do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Maybe some decent Rams seasons. But the Niners were also really good in the late 2000s, early 2010s.
I mean, they've made the Super Bowl how many times in the past decade?
Only 3 times, but they made it in 2013 and then again in 2023.
Right.
So, they've been a pretty solid team for a while.
2-2. Fastball called on the outer half for strike 3. 90 miles an hour to sit down D'Amelio.
I'm just confused on everything about him, to be honest.
What's more confusing?
Well, honestly, it's just the fact that his favorite baseball team is Bryce Harper. The Giants, but his favorite baseball player is Bryce Harper. someone who is honestly not very well liked by any team in the MLB.
Well, no, Bryce Harper famously threw his helmet at Hunter Strickland in a brawl. This one hit hard into right center field. Hicksonbaugh and Royal giving chase, and Royal calls off the right fielder Hicksonbaugh for the final out of the inning. Still 7-3 San Luis Obispo heading into the home half of the sixth on the SLO Blues streaming network. Gavin Smith leading it off for the SLO Blues. In the bottom half of the sixth inning, they're up 7-3 against the West Coast Kings. And new pitcher on the mound for the Kings. It's Declan Casey, the right-hander from San Ramon, California, and from Concordia University, Nebraska. Ryan?
Yeah.
This would be a deep pull if you got this one.
I'm not going to get it.
First pitch to Smith in there for a strike.
Give me the species.
It's a domesticated animal.
The domesticated animal.
Yep. 0-1. Smith watches that downstairs.
The lizards. I don't know.
Lizard? Ryan, there's cats, dogs, parrots, the bulldogs.
Oh, okay.
Smith watches this one inside for a ball. Lizard?
I think I just had given up before I even said anything out of my mouth because I knew there was no chance I was getting Concordia University, Nebraska's mascot.
The tarantulas. 2-1 to Smith. And that fastball missing outside. 3 balls and a strike. Not missing by much.
Hey, I need my flowers, though, because in between innings, I got St. Peter's.
You did. I asked Ryan about the college that the Blues pitcher Will Paxton attends. 3-1, high and tight. Look out. That's ball 4 to Gavin Smith, a leadoff walk in the 6th inning. Asked Ryan about the college Will Paxton, the Blues relief pitcher, attends in St. Pete. And I said, what's their nickname? Ryan got Peacocks.
Took me a little bit, but I got it.
Most known for their March Madness run in 2024.
Year. Yeah, last year. Still can't think of that guy's name. A guy with the mustache who was a stud for them.
Throw over to first is not in time.
You're gonna say it, I'm gonna be like, yeah.
The reason Ryan is laughing, I tried looking up the player. This one missing outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Thought it was
Go for it. Say
Doug
it.
Martin. Thought it was Doug Martin. I'm afraid to say it. I'm embarrassed. 2-0 hit hard into center field. D'Amelio ranging to his right makes the ranging grab on the run for the first out of the inning.
I would say, in my opinion, as a above average football fan, that Doug Martin is like one of the best running backs in Buccaneers history. So the fact you thought he played college basketball at St. Peter's last year.
I didn't think this was the same Doug Martin. I was like, this guy's name is probably also Doug Martin. Here's a pick over to first, not in time. Now batting for the Blues, it's Blake Gregory.
See how off you are. I'm going to find it right now.
High and inside. Look out again. Catcher O'Rourke has to get out of his squat to get this one. Ball and no strikes to Gregory, who has already walked today. Doug Eddert.
So you weren't too far off.
I had Martin in my brain for whatever reason. 1-0. Runner takes off towards second. Here's the throw. It one hops to the bag. What a tag, and they gun down Gavin Smith. Nice throw from Ben O'Rourke, and an even better pick from Stewart at short.
Yeah, Stewart made that play with that pick and tag. That was bound for center field had he not knocked it down.
So now 2 outs for Blake Gregory. Infield shifted to the pull side of the left-handed hitter. This one bounces on top of home plate. 2 balls and a strike. Gregory on top of his walk in the 4th. Struck out in that same inning. He led off in the 4th, and he finished the 4th. In that inning, the Blues put up 6 runs, and that's the big difference in today's game. Gregory goes the opposite way and finds a hole for a base hit. Rounding first, and that's all he'll get. Nice piece of hitting from Blake Gregory to keep the inning alive. And Gregory with just a nice approach, choking up on the bat, just slapping it the opposite way, hitting it where they ain't. No chance for Martinez that time to move to his left and try to glove it. And now it's Brady Alves stepping in with 2 gone and a runner at first. First pitch to Alves is taken for a strike. Brady today 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. He did score in that fateful 4th inning. He reached on a fielder's choice. It was a blooping pop out to right. No one caught it, and they got the force out at second base in Gregory. 0-1, and it's high and inside, a ball and a strike. Alves, a 3-sport athlete in high school. Hoops and football. Here's another throw down to second on the stolen base attempt, and the ball clanks out the glove of Ferruta. So a stolen base for Blake Gregory and a runner in scoring position for the Blues. Already up 7-3 over the Kings. In Alves' high school career, we have nothing on his career at Butte Community College. Redshirted his first season, entering his redshirt freshman year this upcoming year. .462 batting average his junior season. He played all 4 years on varsity. 2 peaks at second base, now comes home. The 2-1 misses inside, 3 balls and a strike now. 90 miles an hour from Declan Casey. We talk about the talent discrepancy around college baseball, and Concordia, Nebraska is an NAIA. And they got a guy throwing 90 miles an hour. This one misses above the helmet of Brady Alves. It keeps the inning alive for ball 4.
I think we could see his struggles, though. Hard to find the zone. His 2 walks given up so far. Maybe if he could find the control and still hit, low 90s, that's a Division I arm for at least a mid-major, if not, a top-end D1 school.
Lively for sure. And here's Chris Johnson with runners on first and second. You talk about football players, Ryan. Talk about running backs. 1-0 to Johnson. Between Doug Martin and Chris Johnson, we're putting together a pretty good backfield. Two looks at second base, now kicks and deals. And Johnson moves out of the way of that four-seamer inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Now, Johnson didn't play football in high school. He played basketball along with baseball for the SLO High School Tigers.
He looks like a dominant 5. I would not get in the way of him in the post.
Boardman gets paid.
Yep.
2-0 sent straight back for strike 1.
One of those guys, if he's setting a screen on you at top of the key, you just don't try to get over the screen. You just let it happen and you fight under.
Long hold on the 2-1. And Johnson watches the fastball low. 3 balls and a strike now.
At the plate today, Johnson's had really good discipline, and all his at-bats, he drew a walk, and then he grounded out in a full count in the 4th, and then was hit in a 2-ball count in the 5th.
That one misses for ball 4. Second walk of the day for Chris Johnson, who, as you said, was also hit by a pitch in the 5th. Seeing it well, and he's impressing early on, or just in this one game he's playing, as looks like we have a pinch hitter coming in for San Luis Obispo. A player not listed on the roster. We'll get you that information as soon as we can, but it's a left-handed batter. And there might be a new pitcher, too, as the manager for the Kings comes out to talk to his right-hander in Declan Casey. There is an arm getting loose in the Kings bullpen. It's another right-hander, but he appears to be staying put in a 7-3 game where the Kings trail the Blues. A tranquil day here at Sinsheimer Stadium as we honor those who have paid the ultimate price in serving the United States. And an important distinction was made to me that I was not aware of, maybe because it's my age. I haven't been on Earth too long, I like to think. Memorial Day is to honor those who have fallen serving the country. Veterans Day are those who are still alive, whether you have served already or are actively serving.
It's a very important distinction, too.
It is. A couple of names come to mind, those who have died in action. First for me, as someone who goes to Arizona State, is Pat Tillman, of course.
Yeah.
Tragic story there, fighting for his country, going to Afghanistan, dropping that football career, and caught in some friendly fire. A legend in the state of Arizona, the Sun Devil community, and the whole country. First pitch bounces inside, a ball, no strikes. Still not sure who this pinch hitter is for the Blues. Either way, he's coming in to replace Hayden Hall at shortstop and batting 9th. Bases loaded. Here's the 1-0. And the four-seamer misses high and outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Still 90 miles an hour on that one. Wind blowing out to left field. Blues up 7-3. 2 gone in the bottom half of the 6th. And a 2-0 count. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed on the changeup for a strike. Alves at second. Gregory at third. And Chris Johnson at first. 2-1, missing high, 3 balls and a strike. And quickly, Casey's command has dropped. After back-to-back walks, he finds himself in a 3-1 count on the pinch hitter for the Blues. E.J. Royal stands on deck. 3-1, that one misses high, and a run has just been walked in. Blues extend 8-3 on the West Coast Kings.
Take it however you can get it. CCL ball, a lot of walks, and you walk in a run right there.
3 walks in a row. All of them on base right now, and it's E.J. Royal who has walked himself today. Pair that with a single in the 5th inning, as it looks like Declan Casey's day is done. New right-hander for the West Coast Kings after this on the SLO Blues streaming network. New pitcher for the West Coast Kings. It's Joe Weiser, a Comet from Palomar College in San Marcos. The first pitch to the leadoff man, E.J. Royal, is a sweeper on the outside quarter for a strike.
Nate, you have no connection to Palomar College, right?
Oh, I certainly do have a connection to Palomar College. It's where I played my JUCO Bandit days, of course.
Right before you came a NARP over there in San Marcos.
NARP, a non-athletic regular person. Now, Weiser, not from Southern California, at 6'5", 210 pounds. He's actually from NorCal, went to Granada High School. He PR'd at 90 miles an hour a year ago. As that fastball is in there for a strike. Played for the Palomar Comets, a well-respected junior college program, and that's not a bias there. Continually putting together good seasons. 1-2. Royal spins this one high and playable for the catcher O'Rourke, who throws off the mask and can't glove it. Thought he had a beat on it, and at the last second, dropped behind his head. A new life for E.J. Royal.
Seen that a lot this weekend. Just the wind and tough play altogether. And how one falls gives EJ new life. Also, we now know who the runner on first is. Thank you to Connie in the live chat. Ruben Servin, who is a St. Joe's player currently, just finished up his junior year.
Royal squibs it on the ground left side, and that finds the 5-5 hole, a base hit. A run comes in to score. Chris Johnson, the green light. Go, big boy. He does. 2-run single for E.J. Royal. Extends the Blues 10-3.
Who else? E.J. Royal.
Of course.
I mean, you said that name hundreds of times last year where he's producing big hits like that and helping the Blues score runs, extend leads, take leads. He does it one more time with 2 outs.
And this is the kind of runs you're expecting to put up if you're the Blues. The offense finally starting to click a little bit more. Not necessarily finding the hard hits that we were talking about, but holes, and that works too. Runners on first and second for Jake Hicksenbaum as he watches the fastball high for a ball.
Yeah, and what I really like, 10 runs, only 7 hits, but what I like is both times that the pitchers have granted them a lot of free bases via walks and hit by pitches, they're taking advantage and then getting hits and extra base hits to score runs. and producing those 10 runs that we see on the board.
1-0, and Hicksonbaugh checks his swing. If they call it a strike anyway. Hicksonbaugh waiting to get in the hit column today. 2 walks and a hit by pitch, and grounded out to the second baseman Montero in the first inning. Getting on base, though, and that's where you like to see him with his speed. 1-1 is a nicely placed fastball for a strike. Hicksonbaugh sporting the bright pink lizard skin on his bomb wood bat. A lot more guys are swinging the bomb bat this summer. I feel like everyone should. 1-2. Hicksonbaugh leaves that one inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The only thing hindering you from swinging that bat would be the price, because it is a very expensive bat.
But the durability on bomb bats almost make it worth it.
It just won't break.
Yeah. E.J. Royal was telling us about how he had to buy a new one recently because it wasn't breaking, but he was just hitting the barrel so much it was splintering in the barrel.
I know. I was like, my bad, man.
Yeah. Sorry. Whatever.
I had to get a new one. The barrel was caving in.
Yeah.
Whoops. Hicksonbaugh just took ball 3 and in a full count now with runners on first and second. Blues well on top of the Kings, 10-3 in the bottom of the 6th. Here's the pitch. Both runners go. Hicksonbaugh leaves it inside for the 3rd walk of the day for him.
You mentioned doesn't have any hits yet, but he's still being very productive at the plate, reaching base safely 4 times and helping his team continue innings. I mean, the last 2 times, his hit by pitch in the 3rd and his walk in the 4th both resulted in RBIs for Brendan Comerford, who stands in the box now. So very productive to just keep the line moving and pass the torch to the next guy.
There's Comerford. And he watches this one inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Brendan popped out to the second baseman for Ruda last time he was up to end the 5th inning. 1-0. Comerford gets underneath this one. A mile high. O'Rourke throws off the mask, and he gloves this one. Found it at the last second, and the side is retired. So the Blues strand of the bases loaded, but they get 3 more, in part from a 2-run single by E.J. Royal. 10-3 Blues heading to the top of the 7th on the SLO Blues streaming network. New pitcher for the San Luis Obispo Blues, and it's a familiar face. Jackson Howell, the local kid from Morro Bay, and Cougar from Cuesta College, making his Blues return after being a reliable arm last summer for Dean Traynor.
Yeah, good to see him back out there. We've been hypothesizing. We haven't had the chance to talk to him, but he didn't pitch this year for the Cougars. After having a really good summer for the Blues last year, we're hypothesizing that maybe he was dealing with an injury, and we saw him start almost every single time he came out for the Blues last year, and we're seeing him out of relief. So maybe a ramp-up. It's just saying, we're just talking about how we need to talk to him Friday, figure out what's going on with this guy.
First pitch missing high and outside to A.J. Martinez, an 0-for-3 day with a couple of Ks and a fly out to center. Yeah, Jackson Howell, the workload has significantly decreased this past season at Cuesta. He made 17 appearances in his freshman season, 30 innings pitched, and 29 strikeouts there. 0-1 is low and outside for a ball. And then this past season with the Cuesta Cougars in 2025, only 9 appearances. 2 balls and no strikes to A.J. Martinez. And misses outside, 3-0. So a significant drop in the workload for Howell. And some Cuesta players we spoke to said he wasn't injured. I'm still trying to figure out what went wrong there. 3-0. Howell dots that one for a strike, a fastball in the other half to Martinez. Well, AJ saw it well yesterday, the third baseman batting third, 3 for 5 and drove in 2. Had a double, scored 2 runs and walked. 3-1. Martinez cues it straight back into the net for strike 2. Yeah, today it's been a different story. Hasn't seen it as well in the sunshine on the Central Coast today with those 2 strikeouts. 0 for 3 with Gio Martini standing on deck. Kings got their work cut out for them, trailing by 7 in the top of the 7th. 3-2 just misses upstairs for ball 4. Leadoff walk for the West Coast Kings starts the 7th inning at Sinsheimer. Second walk of the summer for A.J. Martinez. He got one last night, and now it's Gio Martini, who had a walk last night as well, and was also hit by a pitch in his 1 for 4 evening. Today, 1 for 3. A single in the third, reached on error in the first, and struck out looking last time he was up. Off speed from Howell, just missing outside, a ball, no strikes. Another thing, too, to report on the SLO Blues pitching, and it relates somewhat, a former Cuesta Cougar, Robinson Lardner, who made his presence felt his first season with the Blues and underwent Tommy John surgery and still kind of recovering from that. Threw a bullpen a couple days ago. Going to throw a bullpen throughout the season here at Sinsheimer as he recovers from Tommy John surgery, and told me he's going to make some appearances for the Blues. So happy to see him come back, a teammate of Jackson Howell at Cuesta College. Pick over to first, not in time to get Martinez. Still 2 balls and no strikes to Gio Martini.
Last year, Robbie was a part of the staff for the Blues, so Nate and I get to know him a little bit. Good guy. Yeah, I'm more excited that he's starting to recover and he's going to get to throw a little bit.
2-0, a high bouncing ball to the shortstop. Over to second for 1, on to first, and it's in time. Blues flip the double play on some nice infield magic.
Great play for Servin, who just came into the game at shortstop for Hall. Flipped that over, and then Henderson, who showed off his arm a lot yesterday, shows it off again there with a strong throw and a strike to Chris Johnson.
So Gio Martini grounds into a double play, and it looks like we'll have a pinch hitter. Park Romney now out of this game. And Teo Thompson makes his return to the diamond. He played last night for the West Coast Kings, and he came into pinch hit as well for Andrew Wilford, who was playing left field. And when Thompson came in, he went 1 for 2, hit a single in the 7th inning when he came into pinch hit, and then ended the night with a strikeout looking. He stole a bag too, and Teo looks at the first pitch for a strike here. Parker ends the day 1 for 3, a single in the third. He was stranded at third there, popped out to the second baseman Henderson, and grounder back to the pitcher Bernal. 0-1. Thompson, a slow dribbler in front of home plate, And the catcher, Gregory, makes a nice throw over to first to retire the side. Blues still up 10-3. Time to stretch at Sinsheimer on the SLO Blue Streaming Network. Bottom of the seventh at Sinsheimer Stadium, and the Blues are up 10-3 over the West Coast Kings on this Memorial Monday. Gavin Smith, Eli Henderson, and Blake Gregory due up for San Luis Obispo. On the mound for the Kings, it's still Joe Weiser as he misses up and inside to the Harvard Crimson man, Gavin Smith, for ball one. This inning is brought to you by Educational Employees Credit Union, proudly serving the Central Coast. EECU is located in Paso Robles. It can be found at myeecu.com. Check swing for Gavin Smith here for a strike. Experience smarter banking at Educational Employees Credit Union. Smith rocking the red batting gloves in the 1-1 counts as he's looking for his first base hit today. Blues have 7 on the board. Smith watches this one high, 2 balls and a strike. Smith hit a 3-run homer on opening day, which is something you don't see often here at Sinsheimer Stadium. The way the outfield is built, it's huge out there, and the wind blowing in the thick fog air. He just deposited in the left field corner, and he hits this one off the hands, a flare in a shallow left, and it drops in for a single. Plopping in front of Thompson out in left, and a leadoff base runner for the Blues.
Number 12, the second baseman, Eli.
Didn't hit it hard, but you don't always have to. Just knuckled it out into left, and Thompson not quite quick enough to get there in time, and another leadoff base runner for the Blues.
Here's the left-handed hitting Eli Henderson, who smoked a double in the 4th inning to bring in 2 runs. And part of that big 6-run inning in the bottom of the 4th that was the greatest separator between these two teams today. And the first pitch to him misses high and outside for a ball. With his 2-run double, he was hit by a pitch in the second, grounded out to short, and flew out to center field. 1-for-3 effort this afternoon with the Blues. And the 1-0 misses outside, 2 balls and no strikes. A hitter's count to the Yellow Jacket from Cedarville University out in Ohio. Average lead at first base for Gavin Smith. And the 2-0 is down the middle of the plate for a strike. Henderson on a 2-week contract, so don't get too comfortable with him. He'll be out of San Luis Obispo in about a week or so, but liked what I've seen out of him so far, the way he's hit the ball hard. Sends it straight back, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He's also gross with the glove.
Yes.
He's played a really good second base these last couple of days.
Made a spectacular play yesterday, falling to his right side away from first base. One of the better throws, honestly, I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's here in a 2-2 count, a runner on first. He leaves that fastball outside and fills it up at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Nate and I both noted on that play that he made yesterday, we both had looked down at our scorebooks to right base hit, and we look back up and Eli Henderson is making an acrobatic throw over to first base to record the out. So that's how impressed we were by it.
Payoff pitch, and Henderson draws the walk. So a single and a base on balls begins things in the bottom half of the 7th. Blues already up 10-3 over the West Coast Kings as the manager for the Kings heads out to talk to his right-hander Weiser from Palomar College. Blake Gregory awaits around the batter's box, and Gregory today recorded a base hit in the 6th inning. He also stole a base and came around to score. Part of the cast that came in on the E.J. Royal 2-run single as a new noodle comes in for the West Coast Kings. We'll let you know who it is right after this on the SLO Blue Streaming Network. New pitcher on the mound for the West Coast Kings with runners on first and second. West Coast trails the Blues 10-3 in the bottom half of the 7th. It's Dimitri Perry, the Warrior from Westmont College down in Santa Barbara, a D2 program that just won had the most wins in their conference, the regular season champs in the Pac West, the newly appointed Pac West team. They're an NAIA program for a while, but they made the bump up to Division II baseball, and they're fitting right in. Perry, not so much. Only 3 1/3 college innings pitched. This one sent right back up the middle off the kneecap of Perry. And a flip over to second is in time to get the force out on Henderson. So runners at the corners on the fielder's choice from Blake Gregory.
Pretty well hit ball back up the middle by Gregory, but a good job by Perry to knock it down and give his shortstop a chance to make a play, and he did so.
And in those 3 1/3 innings pitched at Westmont College, an 8.10 earned run average. No strikeouts, no walks, and 3 earned runs in those 3 1/3. Trying to get on the right track here at Sinsheimer Stadium. It's got some work to do with runners on first and third. Just getting out. That offering is in there for a strike on the outer corner to Brady Alves, who struck out twice today, walked, and reached on a fielder's choice. Both times he reached base today, he's come around to score. 0-1. And Alves bounces this one to the shortstop. And he can't glove it, and a run comes in to score. That's Gavin Smith. The ball rolls into center field, and a dive head first into third safely for Blake Gregory. Runners still at the corners, but an RBI error, not technically an RBI, goes to Brady Alves, 11-3 Blues.
And just, again, we saw it earlier with Hayden Hall. The first thing you're ever taught as an infielder is you put the glove in the dirt, you keep it in the dirt, and you bring it up if you need to. But right there, Stewart just tried to stab at it and missed it. And resulted in an error.
So now it's Chris Johnson, who has walked twice today and was hit by a pitch. Also grounded out to the shortstop, Stewart. And Johnson, we gave him a lot of flowers last season because of the way he was able to hit the baseball hard. And now his one game with the Blues, he's been seeing a lot of pitches well. He bounces it to the shortstop, Stewart, here, and they can't quite turn the double play as the first baseman, Martini, is unable to dig it out of the dirt. So coming in to score on the fielder's choice is Blake Gregory, and the Blues extend 12-3 over the West Coast Kings.
More CCL baseball, base hit, walk, fielder's choice. A 6 that scores a run and a fielder's choice that scores a run. It's kind of just how the CCL goes. Not the best baseball, but you score runs and you take them however you get them.
A 2-run inning here in the 7th, the 12-3 lead for San Luis Obispo. As Servin pops this one up high in the air to left center field. Romney ranges to his left and makes a leaping grab at the last second to retire the side. Blues tack on a couple more insurance runs, make it 12-3, heading into the 8th on the Slow Blue Streaming Network. Into the 8th inning we go at Sinsheimer Stadium in San Luis Obispo. The Blues up 12-3 against the West Coast Kings. Jackson Howell's day is done as a Blues relief pitcher after turning a double play and getting a force out after turning a double play and making a throw over to first for the final out of the 7th inning. It's now Cade O'Hara, who made his pitching debut with the Blues a couple of seasons ago, primarily a shortstop. But Dean Traynor needed a closer late in the season 2 seasons ago in San Luis Obispo. They threw in Cade O'Hara because he's got a great arm at shortstop, and ever since then he has messed around on the mound a bit, especially at Texas, which helped him get some playing time for the Longhorns 2 seasons ago. And unfortunately for him, last year he was redshirted just a couple days before the season started. So he's decided to hit the transfer portal and is looking for a new 4-year university, and he's keeping pitching as an open opportunity for any school that wants to recruit him.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to seeing him on the mound because you've told me a few times now about his transition and how well he did on the mound when he was with the Blues 2 years ago. So I'm excited to see him pitch for the first time ever.
So O'Hara will face a new hitter in today's game, Bodie, who swings and misses at the first pitch for strike 1. 88 miles an hour on the fastball, and certainly the velo translating from shortstop on the hill. Here's the 0-1, and Bodie leaves that high and inside for a ball. Rogan Bodie coming in for Joaquin Stewart, who was 0 for 2 today with a walk in the third inning. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Bodie started the game yesterday for the West Coast Kings. Couple of singles and a strikeout looking after being replaced by Jaden Montero. 0-2, a high bouncing ball to the third baseman Comerford, who launches it over to first in time to get the first out of the inning. O'Hara had some struggles with the Blues 2 seasons ago on offense, but he really found some comfort on the mound with a small sample size, 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, and just 1 walk. Thought he found something there, talked to his Texas coaches, and stayed on the mound just a little bit longer. Now getting some more reps here at Sinsheimer. Here's Noah Morton, DH, taking the called strike. And a correction, actually, Noah Morton was replaced a little earlier at the DH spot, as this one bounces in foul territory down the third base line. Andrew Wilford from Bellarmine is in Morton's spot. So Morton's day is done too. A sac fly, a walk, and a ground out to the second baseman Henderson today. Wilford got the start yesterday for the Kings and now comes off the bench here. An 0-2 count with 1 gone. Lazy grounder to the 5-hole. Tried to get backhanded. That time was Servin, and they'll rule it as a base hit for Wilford.
Honestly, a pretty good 2-strike approach. Got the foot down early, started the bat early, and then just slowed it through the zone, and a lazy ground ball, but it was hit in the perfect spot where he can beat it out and have a 1-out base runner.
So now Cade O'Hara will work from the stretch for the first time in 2025 after that single from Wilford. And now it's Benji O'Rourke with a runner on. And O'Rourke takes a look at ball 1 outside. Benji today, a walk, a run scored, a strikeout swinging, and grounded to the first baseman Johnson. Short lead at first. The 1-0 is skied in the air to right. Hicksonbaugh takes a couple steps in, makes a flat-footed grab for the second out of the inning. So instead of Jaden Montero, it's Kevin Ferruta from Contra Costa Community College. I remind you, Montero jammed his thumb over at first base. And a new second baseman in Ferruta, who started yesterday for the Kings. Kings with a long way to go if they want to come back and at least tie it against the Blues, 12-3 in the top half of the 8th. O'Hara delivers a fastball, and it's swung on and missed, or it's swung and foul tipped for strike 1. Wind still blowing out to left field here on Memorial Day at Sinsheimer. Fans enjoying Modelo's now. (1-0). Tried to hit the outside corner, just missed at 88. 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, the fans yesterday showed out with almost 1,900 fans in attendance and sold us out of beer. So our GM and assistant GM went to every liquor store imaginable.
Opposite way and leaks into right field for a base hit. Hicksonbaugh charges it. Here's a green light. Base runner over to third. Comerford picks it in front of the bag. Throw will not be on line. A 2-out single, keeping it alive in the 8th.
Not a well-hit ball, but it sneaks through the right side. And as I was saying, so our GMs and our assistant GM went to every liquor store in the city of SLO and got every keg of Modelo they could find. And so instead of $3 Miller Lights today, it's $3 Modelo when the Blues score, which they just did in the last inning.
Millers will be back, though. Runners at the corners with 2 gone at the top of the 8th. O'Hara delivers a 4-seamer, and it's sent straight up and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. Or no balls and a strike. Two gone for the leadoff man, Joey D'Amelio, who singled in the second and drove in a run. Stole a bag while he was on base, too. O'Hara with a long pause, now kicks and deals. And this one popped up high in the air. Gregory with the mask off in foul ground. Makes the basket catch, and it actually comes off his chest. Had his back turned away from us. It looked like he came up with it, but it rolled off his leg and onto the ground. Another life for Joey D'Amelio.
Again, we've seen that so many times in this opening weekend where the ball just gets caught up in the wind. It's hard enough as a catcher. You got to throw the mask on, look up, find it, and then once you do, get to it. So you have a little less time than a position player would have. So it's a tough play, and then with the wind moving it, you think you're under it, and then last second it's shifting, and you never actually know where it is.
0-2 to D'Amelio, and he barrels this one up into left center field. Royal ranging back. He squares it up and makes the grab to retire the side. Kings come up empty, though they get 2 hits in the top half of the 8th. 12-3 Blues on the SLO Blues streaming network. Bottom of the 8th is brought to you by our friends at SLO County Golf. They offer 3 courses in SLO, Morro Bay, and Atascadero. They also offer a unique combination of beautiful scenery and affordable prices. Book your next tee time at slocountygolf.com. 1-2-3 due up for the San Luis Obispo Blues, up 12-3 against the West Coast Kings. And E.J. Royal, the leadoff man, takes a look at ball 1. EJ today, a couple of hits, driving in a couple of runs. Also walked and popped out twice. And Royal watches ball 2. 2-0 to the Blues center fielder. One of their more prolific players this past season in the summer. Struggled in St. George with Utah Tech and trying to get on the right path here on the Central Coast. He looks at ball 3 in the dirt, 3-0 to EJ. Middle of the infield wide open for Royal as he watches the changeup in there for a strike, hitting the inner half of the zone. Royal donning a new bomb bat this season, as Ryan and I talked about, and an unconventional grip. As Royal takes a look at strike 2. Tennis racket gripping. And I asked him, what's the reason? It's the cheapest.
Yeah. Talking about how the good stuff is $20 now.
Slow roller to third. Martinez gobbles it up and throws it offline, but they tag out Royal for the first out of the inning. So after the lazy ground ball to the hot corner, Jake Hicksonbaugh now comes up. He's walked 3 plate appearances in a row, and before that, he was hit by a pitch in the third. Also swinging a black bomb bat with an out-of-the-ordinary grip, too. A vibrant hot pink on his white gloves. First pitch missing inside, 1-0.
I feel like it goes with Hicksonbaugh's personality. Vibrant, fun guy. And he has a vibrant, fun bat tape.
1-0, and Hicksy watches that one up and outside, 2-0. And we've talked about that vibrant personality for the kid, as we've called him the past 2 seasons, but that nickname might expire soon as he enters his junior year in college. Not so little anymore as he takes a look at strike one here, 2-1.
Well, I believe we started calling someone else the kid last year.
It was Braden Jeffries.
Braden Jeffries, yeah. So we handed that title off.
2-1, and Hicksonbaugh watches that called strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hicksonbaugh in the portal after 2 seasons at Monterey Peninsula College. The numbers don't quite show how he played with the Lobos. 2-2. Hicksonbaugh off the hands into right field. Pulisic makes the running grab, moving to his right for the second out of the inning. 2 quick outs here in the bottom half of the 8th.
He did not miss that ball by much. He hit it off the hands, and he still was able to hit it pretty well out to right field. And that was what he pretty much expressed to us this last year at Monterey Peninsula, that he hit the ball hard. It just was in the glove of the defenders most of the time. And there he kind of does it again.
So no luck here for Hicksonbaugh. Now it's the 3-hole hitter, Brendan Comerford. Watches that one in the other batter's box. A ball, no strikes. Comerford today drove in a run with his single in the 3rd and brought in another with his hit by pitch with the bases loaded in the 4th. Squares this one up hard into right center, and the right fielder Pulisic makes the second put out in a row to retire the side. The Blues go 1-2-3 in the bottom half of the 8th inning. That is the first time they've done that since the first inning today. 12-3 San Luis Obispo. It's the Kings' last chance in the 9th on the SLO Blues streaming network. New pitcher on the mound for San Luis Obispo in to close this game. It's Spencer Gallimar. Kate O'Hara sets him up, an inning of work, 2 hits, and that's all for the former Texas Longhorn. So now it's the University of Colorado Springs Cougar, a local kid from Lompoc, California, a graduate of Carrillo High School.
Impressive collegiate career, going 9-0 his senior year with a .71 ERA in 78 2/3 innings pitched. Just gave up 8 earned runs, 99 strikeouts to 10 walks. This guy sure knows how to fill up the zone. We'll hopefully do that again today.
He starts out on the right foot with a fastball at 84 on the outer half for a strike. due up for the West Coast Kings. It's Pulisic, Martinez, and Martini. Second one dribbled to the shortstop, Servin, and it bounces right over his glove into center field for a base hit. Leadoff single to begin the ninth inning. And Kings trail big against the Blues, 12-3.
Honestly, a really impressive collegiate career entirely in his 228 innings pitched. He only gave up 79 earned runs, a 4-year letter winner over at Cabrillo. Good for a 2.42 ERA across his 4 years at the varsity level.
It hasn't made an appearance in college quite yet for Colorado Springs. Redshirted his first season with the Cougars. Gearing up for next year. First pitch is swung on and foul tipped into the netting for strike one. Pulisic at first base for the second time today. He reached on a walk in the fourth, and Martinez has struck out twice today, flew out to center and walked himself in the seventh after terrorizing the Blues yesterday with a double, going 3 for 5. 0-1 misses outside with the sweeper, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Not to mention his senior year at Cabrillo, he threw 8 complete games. In his junior year, he threw 6 complete games and a no-hitter.
1-1. This one hit high and hard in the air to left field. Playable for Alves, though, as he squares it up and makes the one-handed squeeze for the first out of the inning. Gilmore was the man in high school, All-Area Utility Player of the Year and first-team All-Ocean League in his junior season at Cabrillo High School. So now with one gone, it's Gio Martini. 1 for 4 today with a single in the third. First pitch is lined down the left field line and into the Kings bullpen for a foul ball and a strike one. Summer's here, and the boys are back in town to come celebrate the Blues' 79th season with fireworks after the game against the Menlo Park Legends on June 9th. Buy your tickets now at bluesbaseball.com. Another foul ball on the left side out of play, and check that's June 6th for that firework game. Remember, June 6th. It's the first one against the Menlo Park Legends. Get those tickets now. Those sell out fast. Runner at first. 0-2 count. Top of the ninth inning at Sinsheimer. Fastball missing high and outside. Ball and 2 strikes. 87 miles an hour on the four-seamer from Gilmore. Left on right matchup. The lefty Martini against the righty Gilmore. Martini spits on that one in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
A good 1-2 changeup there. Just started at the knees and dropped right in front of Gregory, but it's just a really good spot in a pitcher's count to try to get a chase swing from Martini.
Teo Thompson awaits on deck for the West Coast Kings, and the 2-2 just misses inside for ball 3.
Did not miss by much. Another really good spot, but now in a full count has to attack Martini, who already has a hit in today's game.
Outfield slightly shifted to the opposite way of the left-handed hitting Martini. The runner takes off, ball in play, bounces off the mound. Second baseman Henderson got it, throw it over to first in time to retire Martini. But Pulisic into second base, and 2 outs in the ninth inning.
Good play by Henderson. That's not an easy one, coming off the mound and then the runner also running by it and just barely missing it. Cuts off the line of sight with the ball, and it's shifting off the mound. Not an easy play to make, but able to adjust last second, field it cleanly, and get it over to Johnson.
So a runner in scoring position now for the West Coast Kings. It's Pulisic at second base with 2 gone, and Teo Thompson looks at the first pitch strike. Thompson stands up tall in the left-handed batter's box. The 0-1. And Teo breaks his bat and softly hits it into shallow center. Servin bobbles it as he bats it down and prevents a run from scoring. Pulisic throws on the brakes at third, and runners at the corners for the Kings.
Another base hit, but a weakly hit ball, you'll live with that on the mound. If you're Gallimore, you just got to work out of a 2-on, 2-out jam now.
It's Rogan Bodie who came in to replace Joaquin Stewart in the 8th inning. Runners at first and third. Kings down 12-3 in the top of the 9th. And he spins this one into foul ground. Gregory not able to make the play. No balls and a strike. Bodie, a Falcon from Folsom Lake Community College, grew up in Eureka, California. That's a long way from Folsom. Played for the Crabs last summer, the Humboldt Crabs. Missing outside, a ball and a strike. The Crabs actually came down to San Luis Obispo a couple of summers ago, and their fans travel well. They make some noise, too. It's always a good show that the Crabs put on. Bodie with the Crabs went 4 of 12 with a double. Drove in 2 and walked. 1-1, missing outside with the sweeper. 2 balls and a strike. In his redshirt sophomore season with the Falcons at Folsom Lake, .250 batting average. Very small sample size, 1 for 4. Played in 8 games. 2-1. Hit off the end of the bat into right field. Hicksonbaugh giving chase, and he won't get there. A run comes in to score on the RBI single from Rogan Bodie. That's the first run the Kings have scored since the 3rd.
Rallying here with 2 outs. They're 1 out away from this game being over. They cut into the lead.
Back-to-back base hits now for Andrew Wilford with runners at first and third. Runner takes off towards second base. A pump fake from Gregory. No throw there, and a stolen bag for Bodie. Wilford came in to replace Noah Morton as the DH in the 8th inning, and he singled. 2 out, runners on second and third. Here's the 1-0. And a sweeper missing low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Wilford from San Jose. Plays at Bellarmine out in Louisville, Kentucky. Was a stud at West Valley College and a stud in high school, too. Off the hands and right back into the net. 2 balls and 1 strike. First team All-League in high school. Second team All-League in high school. Played baseball and basketball. All-Coast Conference second team at West Valley. 2-1. Half swing and a miss for strike 2. Kings down to their last strike. Trailing 12-4 against the SLO Blues. Runners on second and third for the Kings. 2-2 is swung on and missed. Gillimore ends this game with a strikeout swinging on Wilford. And at 5:16 p.m., the Blues collect their 3rd win of the season in a dominant 12-4 fashion against the West Coast Kings. And really, it all came to life in that 4th inning when the Blues put up 6 runs against the Kings, and they just kind of took off from there. 3 more in the 6th and 2 more in the 7th. Punctuated that 12-4 win against West Coast. A much-needed win, might I add, after the loss yesterday against the Kings.
Yeah, very good win for the Blues. They just took advantage every single time that the Kings were hitting batters, were walking batters. They really just decided, all right, now let's get some hits and bring these runs across so that we can get a win in today's ballgame, and they do just that. And they improved to 3-1 on the season.
And we talked about how much the Blues are needing to hit the baseball hard in today's game and really throughout the rest of the season. Didn't quite hit that mark today, but they hit them where they ain't. And they had some timely hitting too, especially from E.J. Royal and Gavin Smith and Eli Henderson as well, all contributing to some blow-up innings for San Luis Obispo. Those guys were big today.
Yeah, they were big. Really just an overall good game at the plate. I think their best game at the plate so far. 8 hits. They tallied 8 last night, 4 in the previous 2 games. So really just a good job executing when needed, drawing walks, and then taking advantage at the plate. And I think on the other side with the pitching, just overall a really great game for everybody. Ty Bernal, who gave up 3 of the 4 runs that were scored, I think he pitched really well still. He started out the game, all 4 base hits that he gave up were 70 miles an hour or less on the exit velo, so not well hit balls. So he did a really good job just forcing them to hit the ball softly in play and getting some outs and only letting a few runs get scratched across.
Yeah, that was a big storyline that we were watching into today's game as well, because the starting pitcher for the Blues is a 16-year-old from Mission Prep High School. And so, Ryan, you kind of spoke on it a little bit, but what are your reactions to how this kid pitched against some college hitters?
I think it went really well. Like I said, he doesn't throw the ball hard. He had that sinker that was sitting in the mid to low 80s, and then a nice slurve and changeup. The changeup he barely even used. So he's really a 2-pitch guy. Really probably would be an incredible bullpen arm in a couple of years for a Division I program. Just weird arm slot, funky delivery, and good movement on his stuff that makes it really hard to hit hard. And we saw that today. No balls hit over 70 miles an hour that were for a hit. And the hardest hit ball they had was probably a sac fly. But outside of that, just not a lot of great contact on him. And I think that'll serve him wonders in his career going forward as a baseball player.
Dean Traynor emptying the bullpen today. We saw 5 bullpen arms for the Blues. A lot of guys just trying to get some reps, some action in, as a lot of high school contracts expire after today for the Blues. So no more high school players after this weekend. But all the guys that were put in today, not high schoolers from the bullpen. What are your thoughts on the strategy for Dean Traynor in terms of using his bullpen pitchers?
Yeah, I mean, I think after, Bernal threw those couple innings, gave up a couple runs, he just realized that it was going to be a game to throw some of his bullpen guys, and he just went to the guys that he trusted. After a loss yesterday, they knew they wanted to come back and win today, and at the point where Omar Reynoso, who was the first pitcher to come in, came in, the Blues were losing 3-1. So, just wanted to make sure that they could keep it right at 3. The bullpen did a great job of that. Only allowed 1 run in the 9th, but allowed the bats to come up, score 6 in the 4th, score 3 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, and really blow out the Kings in the middle to later innings.
We saw a lineup today that looked like it could be a future lineup, at least within the next coming weeks, with Royal, Hicksonbaugh, Comerford, and Smith. In the top 4, we have Henderson, who's on a 2-week contract, so he won't be around for long, and the most of the bottom of the order being high schoolers too. The way this team was able to bounce back after a loss yesterday and doing it in dominant fashion, it was led by those guys at the top 4. What does that say about the Blues going down the stretch?
Yeah, I think it shows a level of maturity for those 4. I mean, 3 of those guys being with the Blues before playing under Dean. There were times last season where it was rough. A couple games you would lose in a row against teams that you definitely should beat. But then they also had a 10-game win streak, which is not easy to do in the game of baseball. So just those guys really forcing the issue today and making sure that the younger guys, the high school guys, and even like Eli Henderson, who's on a 2-week, understand that this is a game that we need to win. We need some confidence going into next weekend where we play the Indians and the Expos, and just getting it done. I mean, E.J. Royal reached base 3 times, Hicksonbaugh reaching base 4 times, Comerford reaching base twice. Just really showing the younger guys in the lineup, this is what we need to do. We need to just get on base, move the line along, and score some runs. 3
errors a couple days ago, 5 yesterday. They brought it down to 2 today. I mean, what are your thoughts on how the defense played today for the Blues? I know there were some problems at shortstop for sure.
Yeah, I think the defense was better today.
Yeah.
It was a lot better. You'll take 2 errors.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off a game with 5 especially, you'll take 2. So the Blues I think they'll be happy with that. I think it's something, no games during the week, so a practice on Wednesday, and I think that's something they'll have a huge emphasis on. That and then hitting the ball hard is the 2 things I think would be a great improvement to see against the Indians on Friday.
Longest break of the season. This happens every single year. You get like a 4 to 5 day break to get that practice in before this weekend against the Santa Maria Indians and the California Expos. I feel like these off days are days you can't really take off if you want to do what you have to do against those teams. What do the Blues need to lock in on to sweep the weekend this weekend? I
think this last weekend, this opening day weekend, I think the pitching was there. Mm-hmm. Outside of, a couple of bad innings, it's going to happen. That's baseball. You can live with that. I think the pitching was there. So I think they really just need to focus on hitting and defense. It means we don't have a lot of pitchers who have, high velo, great strikeout stuff. It's a lot of guys who are just going to induce weak contact. So our defense behind them needs to be locked in with their fielding abilities, with their communication, and really make sure that everything is honed in coming into the weekend next weekend against, honestly, 3 games that you should win by multiple runs. Just 2 teams that are not great teams that kind of just throw together guys last minute and then go out there and do their best. But it'll be a good learning experience, like you mentioned. Long break, a practice or two, and then you have a couple of games here at home that you should win before you really get into the tough stuff where you play Sonoma on the road to start your CCL season, and then you come back home and you host the Saints.
Yeah, they're going to be hitting the ground running right after this break and this weekend, but the Blues for now nab the 12-4 win against the West Coast Kings. They improved to 3-1 on the season, and that'll do it from here from Ryan and I on the SLO Blues Streaming Network. Have a great Memorial Day, everyone.